Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 330 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. What's up, everyone? We're another week closer to the playoffs. The number 4 seeds is still up for grabs. Lots of matchups to be determined. We had a big Oscar winner in the house Sunday night, but let's say howdy to the gents first. Producer Mikey Grinelli looking fresh in the tie-dye. What's up, guy?
Thank you, RA.
What was that?
Yeah, what happened at the end there?
What was the end?
I couldn't tell if I said what's up a guy or if I skipped or not because I've been having some audio issues. We'll just pretend I'm Italian this episode.
What's up, Thai guy?
That's the type of shit I do on the Coyotes broadcast. Like sometimes I'll fucking not even finish my sentence and
I hate a niner.
I hate take twos though. I don't like taking twos.
It was almost like you ran out of breath there.
Yeah,
all right.
Shocker.
I am great. Weather is gorgeous. Got myself a new pair of rollerblades, so I was buzzing around New York City this weekend. Blade game season is in full tilt, so I'm a very, very happy producer.
Going to be cruising down in NYC, the streets, rocking the new Speedos, this Pink Whitney Speedos coming out with your rollerblades on.
Skating over rats and just trash everywhere.
Some bicep tassels like Ultimate Warrior. Pink Whitney bandana like my Pushy Muncher bandana. Let's go. Let's start the branding. Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
That's the voice of Paul Biz Nasty Bissonette. What's up, my man? How we doing?
Things are going good. Very, very relaxing day so far. Big Coyotes matchup tonight. They're playing San Jose. They're in the hunt. They're playing this little seesaw battle game with St. Louis, and St. Louis, that's a tough strength of schedule. And the Coyotes, man, I tell you what, let's wait to talk about the Coyotes because I'm about half hard right now. And fucking one other thing about the Coyotes, Jakob Chychrun should be mentioned in the Norris conversation to a certain degree, and we'll get to it later.
All right. Last but not least, the Wit Dog, Ryan Whitney. What's going on?
What's up? Couple of things to bring up right away. Coyotes quickly, Biz. Yeah, you're fighting for the 4th spot. You guys are 4-17-1 against the top 3 teams in your division. I'll say it again, 4-17-1. So even if you get in, you're 4-0. Suck on that. Grinelli, the shirt does look awesome. Nice to see you. RA, how have you been? My octopus professor takes it down. Congrats to that. Partly because of you. And mainly, I am in a phenomenal mood. Couple different things going on. This upcoming weekend, I'm going down, or even Thursday, I'm leaving. I'm going to Sea Island, Georgia on a golf trip. 12 guys. Team Trash, my team, versus the Bantams, a bunch of losers that went to Trinity College, this nerdy college in Connecticut, the geeks, the Bantams, they call themselves. So last year, I was the MVP of the trip. I hit the winning putt. I played amazing. So I'm really looking forward to this year. Elbow issues. If you don't think that I'm going to mention an injury that I'm battling, you don't know me, because I've been doing this since this podcast started 5 years ago, and I mentioned everything fell apart because of my ankles. It wasn't my fault. So right now, the elbow is a mess. There's tennis elbow, and then there's Whitney tennis elbow, and I got it to the extreme. I'm working cortisone, didn't do anything. I'm PRPing it right now. I wouldn't pass a drug test if they try to give me one when we get down there. But I'll tell you this. I'll be playing through the pain. I have not played golf, though, so I'm kind of really setting myself up. If I play bad, hey, it's not your fault. You haven't played golf. I have not played golf, so let's see what type of game I have. Let's see what type of painkillers I get involved to try to get the thing going, and let's go Team Trash.
We're going to have to send you to some holistic healer.
I've done everything. I've done everything, but you know what? It's just all I have to do really is not do anything, and it's just turning into May, so it's impossible. I haven't done anything, though. You
say everything. You're okay with needles? You've done acupuncture?
Yeah, but acupuncture, yeah, I've tried everything. I've tried it all. And my right elbow, I had tennis elbow real bad 3 years ago. I got a cortisone shot. I've never felt a thing since. But this one, sometimes it just doesn't take, and then you can't do cortisone again. Cortisone isn't great, right? You can only have, I think, 2 shots a year in the same spot. It's not good for the future of that joint, ligament, tendon, whatever's in there. But I don't want to be complaining. I don't want to sound like that guy, but I'm ready to go. I'll be ready for my team.
NFL, they were doing 2 a week.
Brian Foles is doing, so Foles has this Instagram account. It's Fairway Foles. His name is Moe Norman Jr. For people who don't know, Moe Norman's a Canadian. This guy was what Tiger Woods said, one of 2 human beings to own a golf swing, Moe Norman and Ben Hogan. Moe Norman was kind of crazy though, Biz. I don't know if he had a touch of Asperger's. He was a little different. He went to Augusta, and I think he had to leave because he hit so many fucking balls on the range the day before. He had blisters. He couldn't even play at the Masters. don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure it's true. So Foley has made this Instagram account where he has put up, check it out, Fairway Falls, FAIRWAYFOLZ. And he's given the write-ups of each players. This is mine. Ryan Whitney, team trash, sponsor, self-sponsored, handicap, 0.1. Notable honors, 09 Granite Links member guest champion of the women's flight. That's right. Foley and I were so bad at golf. We played in the member guest at Granite Links when I was a member there. I get to this tournament, Biz. And I look up at the board and all the names of each teams are on the flight. And I see Brian Foley, Ryan Whitney. I've told this story before. I see Gertrude Murray. I see just women's names. I'm like, what's this? The guy's like, your handicaps are both so high. And I was like, dude, no, I'm not playing in this tournament. And he goes, no, you have to play. You'll ruin the whole tournament. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I get up to the first tee and I unzip my ball to get a bag. All the guys from the pro shop put pink balls and what do they use for their period? Women. Tampons in my bag. We ended up dusting all these women, though. We won our flight. So Foley mentioned that's my notable honors. What the experts have to say. We're terrified. Sea Island Caddy Master. The other one. Hey, listen, I don't want to hear any more about the elbow injury. This kid is a hockey player. I've seen him lose teeth and go back into games. This elbow thing will be no issue at all. Pierre Maguire. And last, I hope he loses. Michelle Terrien. So it's a great time. 6 on 6. I got a battle. Check out this kid's fucking right.
Oh, how do I recover from this? I think I'm done for the pod. It's just you guys.
Friggin' funny, dude. One guy in the chip, John Cronin, our buddy Crow. He has 3 daughters, and his wife's pregnant with her 4th child, who's also a girl. So he's gonna have 4 daughters. Foley wrote for the sponsor, Notre Dame Academy in Hingham, Mass. It's an all-girls school. All right, so yeah.
I'm trying to unpack what was the funniest part of that whole thing.
I had one more thing.
Michelle Terrien.
Michelle Terrien. Oh, Fairway Falls on Instagram. Get over there, folks. If you like golf.
What a perfect ending.
Dude, he puts like old videos he has of me like 6 years ago. One of them, I'm putting. He's videoing me practicing putting on the green. And then I putt the last one in the hole and then go to reach to put another ball down. I don't have a ball in my hands. It's the craziest video. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but check it out.
All right. No.
We get a little more golf talk later in the show, including some major heartbreak for yours truly on the gambling spectrum. First, I do want to mention we have a pair of guests today. Our buddy Matt Murley is going to join us to talk about his gambling, his European stuff, the streak he's been on, EBR. And more importantly, we have Hall of Famer Bryan Trottier on. He's won 6 Stanley Cups as a player, 1 as a coach. It's a fantastic interview. We're going to get to that a little bit later. But first, the big news story, I would say, of the weekend, it happened today. We found out NBC will not be the second TV partner for the NHL's next deal next season. And our pal Bobby McKenzie tweeted that it's, quote, not official by any means, but I'm hearing NHL's new secondary broadcast partner is likely to be TNT. So if Bobby Mac's hearing it, it's probably true. Assuming that's the case, this is going to put the NHL on the same footing as far as the NBA regarding television. Basically, they're going to be on ESPN, TNT. I don't know. What do you want to see first and foremost change from this year to next year as far as TV with the NHL?
I'm not exactly like the guy to ask in terms of what I want changed. More than anything, I'm happy. I think it's going to be $600 million a year. The league's going to be making
$625 now. Is it $625 already?
Yep. Yeah. So, John Orion, Sports Biz Journal.
$625. So good for them. They've been able to just take it to the next level. And if it is TNT, talk about mastering a way to do pregame and halftime shows with Shaq and Charles Barkley and Ernie. I think is it Ernie Johnson?
Yep.
The guy's a master host. So right away you see names being thrown around like, who could they do this for hockey? I think you're listening to them. But Biz, they might try to throw the bag at you. Either way, you're looking at what will be improved. And I love NBC, and I actually hope that, like, I think like most of the people there that do a really good job, they'll land somewhere, right? Like whoever gets hockey is going to have to be hiring people. They know who's good, and those people are great. But I think you can improve on what they have. I think sometimes their intermission reports can get a little bit stale, and it's not easy with hockey, right? You're talking about the game, and you're kind of dealing with in the history of hockey, like there's not much humor in broadcasts, you know. It's seems to me it's always been pretty serious, right? And Don Cherry in Coach's Corner, he made it interesting with kind of hot takes and being willing to say anything. NBC, you don't really see them saying much, right? I mean, they're giving what's going on in the game, but they're not making statements that whether people love them or hate them, they're going to get people to talk about them, right? And so maybe that can change, and maybe wherever they end up going now with TNT or CBS, whatever it is, there can be improvement in terms of just letting guys be a little looser at the intermission, more laid back vibe, as opposed to just really rehashing the entire period and what happened.
I don't know. I mean, that's a nice little rundown there, Whit, and thanks for the little tire pump there. I never even thought about that. I was actually thinking maybe like get Jagr back in the mix, maybe bring in some of the more old school guys. Like, I think that so one of the issues in the fact that I don't think that's been able to be established is the fact that all those people with like a lot of credibility, like Hall of Famers who have rings, there just hasn't really been enough money in it in the past, or you had to start out so low at the bottom where it was like, bro, I fucking won 4 Stanley Cups and I'm a Hall of Famer. I'm not fucking getting to the desk for $150K. And if I'm letting it fly, I ain't having you fucking tell me how to let it fly. Why? Why would they? Right. So I don't think there's ever really been an opportunity. I think maybe what you're saying and where they're prepared to take it. Although I guess you could argue has there, I mean, Don Cherry used to let it fly quite a bit. I mean, that was kind of like one of the things and why people talked about him so much. But as far as guys still around, like, I mean, I'd love to see JR back in the mix. Obviously, like with what happened in the last situation, like it's in the past, you know, let's move forward here. And you know, I think he'd be a good host. Who else?
Christopher Stieg, I think would be awesome.
I think Kevin BX is doing it for Hockey Night in Canada. Like, I don't know if I don't know how long he's got left there. I don't know how long the contracts are for the guys who are at the top in Canada. So
Versteeg's already doing that with Hockey Night in Canada.
Right. I'm saying is I don't know how long all of these guys' deals are locked in with the Canadian networks. Whereas all of a sudden, Bieksa lives in California. I mean, if TNT's throwing him a fucking sheet, he's probably going to do it for USDs. I mean, also, and he gets to live and commute. I don't know exactly where the studio is going to be or how it's going to all be done, but I mean, US dollar speaks for itself, and he lives in the States. I'll leave it at that.
You can't tell me that after Shane Corson was on here, that guy wouldn't be unreal at something.
Another guy, there's plenty of guys.
Now, it's a great point by you that Barkley and Shaq are making bank doing that. I
think Barkley's making $8 million a year doing that.
Yeah. Whereas NHL just not that dough. Like, even at NHL Network, it shares a building. MLB Network is there, and those guys make more just because it's, you know, there's more money in the NBA and Major League Baseball than there is in the NHL. So it is hard to get a former legend the way those two Barkley and Shaq are to get on to do it if they're not making huge coin. It's a good point.
They basically just show up and say, "Oh, things were better when we played. This guy sucks," and people love it. They don't do the shit. I
agree with you.
You know, I don't know. Really, I
very entertaining.
They're entertaining, but I mean, they just seem to kind of give, I don't know, off the cuff opinions. I don't know that they're doing a ton of
that's what they're paid to do.
Works. I know. I'm just saying. I don't think they. I think they're they don't do a ton of analytics. I think that girl the woman Candace Baca who goes on them. She's really good at the analytic part. She breaks stuff.
But that's the whole point of it.
Here's also what's funny too is the dynamic between someone who might be a little bit more educated with the times and the fact that she's getting to dunk on these Hall of Famers who might have just showed up to the panel. There was one show where Barkley. So did you guys watch the behind the scenes documentary on how it all came to be? There's a documentary on it. It's really good, RA. I mean,
what channel?
I know my recommendations are not up to your fucking standards because you've been on Fuego, and we'll get to that a little bit later.
You gave me 000. We'll get to that later. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I gave 000.
But I think the one night Candace was on there, I mean, there was a few times she did have the upper hand in arguments, at least from what I saw on social media. And it creates dialogue, whatever the opinion may be and whoever thinks who won the argument. And then going back to that documentary, I think there was a boxing match going on and Barkley clearly had money on it. And there was a massive upset and the TV was on and they just go live on TNT to talk about the basketball game. And Barkley's sitting back in his chair, and he's like, "Oh my God!" He's like, "That was the biggest upset in boxing history." And they're like, "Chuck, we're like on here live." And
I love that though. That's
like, I don't
different.
care. He's like, and then basically the entire segment they were talking about this boxing match that I'm sure Barkley had just lost six figures on. So it's just it like when you get these types of personalities together, it can take on a mind of its own, and ultimately that's what's going to drive the conversation in interest. And that's just my opinion on it. That's what I like. If people like watching just to hear the breakdown of exactly what's going down on the ice with no other outside factors or different emotions involved that might be like connecting it to prior games that they might have even been playing in at that high of stakes, then that's their opinion.
Yeah, I think that NBC did a fine job. I think that sometimes it felt too safe. Like what we're saying now, there was, you're what you're gonna get before the games, during the games, nothing controversial. You get a few scoops here and there, but I thought, I don't know if hockey was necessarily a priority with them. They didn't really emphasize the stars. I mean, how many nights this season did we have maybe McDavid versus Matthews, and instead on NBC we're getting Chicago versus Detroit or two other teams that are subpar? I think they need to prioritize the stars over the geography and not worry about, we're going to have Chicago versus LA for the ratings. It's like, no, let's get the two best players that are going to bring in the most eyeballs. And also, too, Biz, I think NBC, I used to say this all the time, they dropped the ball by not having a national game Saturday night. I mean, Hockey Night in Canada is an iconic thing. There are games on every Saturday night. It's the biggest no-brainer in the world to have a fucking national Saturday night game here in the United States as well.
I mean, I think there's plenty of places they need to bring it who are now getting the hands of it all. I mean, TNT's, I'm sure they're going to have ideas as to how you're going to draw out the personalities, because everyone always talks about the league. Guys, it's the players and, as you just mentioned, RA, the personalities that drive the bus. That's what drives the bus. You talk about the individuals. I mean, guys, like, I don't think that NBA product is anywhere near of what the NHL is. And I mean, I think playoff hockey's in a total different stratosphere than a lot of things, but they have very, very, very high-end personalities. If you go look at Instagram followings, and some of you people are like, and social media, guys, that's what the next wave in the next generation, that's where they hang out mostly. That's why a lot of these networks who are taking over are trying to move a lot of what you're consuming to smartphone capabilities. How many people are signing off of cable for that matter? But at the end of the day, you look at, I think LeBron James, I'm assuming he's got over 100 million Instagram followers. Well, the teams have like 4 or 5 million. It's the people are following the people, not the teams. So if they can do a better job of lifting that up in hockey, which I think that over the years they've done an excellent job of allowing these guys to be themselves more and more and more. Do I think that we're a little bit behind in that? Yes, I think we're getting there. These networks are going to be the ones that have to drive that or help.
LeBron James. Sorry for going on a little bit of a rant there. That's quite all right. That's what we do here. Andrew Marchand of the New York Post said that ESPN is going to have 4 Stanley Cups and we'll have out-of-market games on ESPN Plus as well as exclusivity on regular season games. So, like I said before, I know hockey fans have had their issues with ESPN, and I get it, but we can all move past that. I think this is a fantastic day for the league. Again, it's not official yet, but when TNT comes into the fold, we're on the same footing as the NBA, and if you're an NHL fan, that can only be a good thing. Yeah, more eyes. Yeah, and they're going to do cooler things with it, and it's going to be awesome. No doubt about it. Well, gang, summer is just around the corner, as are the playoffs, horse races, pool parties, and much more. So make sure you head over to your local liquor store today to find the Pink Whitney and the new 375 milliliter Mickey-sized bottle. It's the best drink from pregame to the after party. So be sure to check out the new Mickeys of Pink Whitney at your local package store. All right, boys, we're going to take a look at the North Division first. Toronto had a 2-1 week. They pretty much got a stranglehold on that number 1 spot in the division. It'd be a shock if they gave it up at this point. I would say Winnipeg-Edmonton is the only real series we know that's most likely going to happen at this point. Biz, I know you want to talk about Joe Thornton. He's been playing pretty intense. It's great to see. It's been fun to see. But that clip of him in the penalty box alongside Nick Ehlers, and they played the Abe Simpson audio from The Simpsons. I sent it to you guys. Yeah, that was that a Winnipeg fan fucking around? I think it just might have been a random hockey fan but it worked so good because Ehlers just wasn't really paying attention to him. So in the mouth match, not perfect, but
I was dying when you said. So I was excited because when you sent it over, I was waiting to watch it because I was doing something. I actually thought they were going to have the audio. So when I turned it on, I was like, fuck. I thought it was going to be actually. I actually am curious as to what he did say, but. The Leafs are rolling. I think the one storyline right now is the fact that, Thornton's obviously developed into a different player and what he thinks is going to help the team. And they're thrilled about it. And I mean, look at the trajectory of his career, by the way. That's my word, Whit. So I'm going to use it first here today. And he's gotten to this point where he's willing to do anything he can to help that lineup. And as I said, I think Keith touched on it. Jake Muzzin said it's fucking awesome, and he's going to do whatever he can to help that team win. Whit.
If you've ever played against Joe Thornton, for the few of you out there, or watched him for that matter, this isn't hard for him to go find this anger. He's a mean bastard and always has been on the ice. Like, he was the number one center, one of the greatest players of his generation, and still had no problem cross-checking somebody up high or just really going at anyone. So I think now he knows that maybe he's got to amp that up a little bit, playing on a bottom six, in a bottom six role. But it's not tough for him to want to be a prick out there, because that guy was a mean bastard. He was in a grumpy mood a lot of games against the opposing team. So I think that it's probably a little easier for him than maybe others that go from a top two-line guy to a bottom two-line guy later on in their career. Great to see. Simmons doing that too. That's our team coming out of the North. Winnipeg loses Ehlers for the rest of the regular season. They're saying that he'll be back for the playoffs, which is huge. And I guess there is a team who can lose, a forward of that caliber as Winnipeg. They're very deep up front. If they lost a defenseman, they'd probably be in a lot of trouble, but they do need him to have a chance in the playoffs. I look at the North and I'm watching the warm-ups here of Montreal. They're playing Calgary, and we have a little grind of a battle going on. And it looked like there was no chance that the Calgary Flames could catch the Montreal Canadiens, or forget even Vancouver with all their games in hand. But Montreal can't score. Now, tonight, they're showing Cole Caulfield skate around. Finally, he's playing. All right, can you explain to me why he's just now playing for this team?
In a nutshell, salary cap gymnastics. The Canadians had to move somebody else to the taxi squad before they could bring up Caulfield. So I think they were just waiting for either a couple days to pass. I'm not sure. I had a doctor's appointment today, so I'm not sure if they sent Caden Primo down to the taxi squad. But I know that was one of the situations that needed to happen for them.
So
if
they use him as an emergency call up, you still have to send someone down, or no?
Well, you still have to be cap compliant, and
yeah,
and every day it's like that's why the teams are sending players to the taxi squad just for money purposes, not even necessarily for roster purposes. So basically, they needed the money to line up.
So Montreal, they need Caulfield to do what he does, and oh my God, has he looked good? I think he's going to score, and I actually just took Montreal. I think they get it done tonight. They have 2 or less goals in 9 of their last 11 games. There's no chance you're going to. And by the way, it probably sounds like I'm dogging Montreal and dogging their front office, but like the moves Bergevin made are I can't believe I call him Bergevin now because of you. The moves Bergevin made, Anderson has 17 goals. He's been sick. Toffoli has like 23. He'd have 40 goal pace right now in a regular year. Jake Allen, he's starting the biggest game of the year tonight, Monday night against Calgary. So there's moves have happened that have helped. It's just they don't have a ton of skill. They have guys who work really hard, but they don't have people who create. Now, so Caulfield comes in, he should play a lot of minutes and at least maybe get them going goal scoring wise.
I guess I underestimated his craziness a little bit. Jumbo
really?
Joe.
Yeah, he's maybe because I was in Anaheim and got to play it against him a little bit more often that one year in the same division. But yeah, dude, he was mean as shit out there.
Was he saying mean shit out there too?
Not really. I don't remember him. He just didn't even bother talking to me, so I don't need to say shit to this guy.
Did he ever give you a little stick or a cross check?
I didn't shout out Marleau last week either. For the most embarrassing moment I had against Patrick Marleau was the first game of the year. So I got traded to the Ducks in the deadline in whatever year the Penguins won the Cup. What was that, 09 RA?
09.
Yeah, so I get traded, and then that, Pronger's there, and then the offseason Pronger's gone. So I get a chance in the next year to be on the number 1 power play. First game of the year, we get the Sharks at home.
Oh.
First power play of the game. I get out there. I'm up top of the umbrella. I get a one-timer pass over me from Getzlaff. Like, if I had any awareness whatsoever, Patrick Marleau was perfectly in the shooting lane. I rip a one-timer off his shin pads, goes right past me. He buzzes by me and buries. I'm like, oh, my God. So I should have shouted him out for that. But, yeah, Thornton was on that team. He probably was on the ice for that kill.
Hey, Biz, you said there were like telecommunications issues up in Canada last week because Nylander, he said he didn't get a text about a meeting or an email or something. What was going on up there?
There was like a meeting change, but there was actually like no cell phone service for all of Rogers in a couple days in Canada last week.
For a couple days?
Or at least a day, excuse me. So I don't know the full situation, but like Jeff, my buddy who's up in Vancouver, he's like, hey, if you want to get a hold of me, you got to like FaceTime me, basically anything like Wi-Fi related. But yeah, the service was out, but apparently they like changed the time of a meeting and then he was late and then like the media caught wind and there was a chance he was going to be a healthy scratch, but it's just like, it's like Toronto media stuff. So it caught fire.
It's a guy who doesn't have a history of blowing meetings off. Guys usually don't just like.
So basically, half the fan base on Twitter wanted him traded with.
They got hot on for him anyways.
So basically, the other 23 guys on the team got the text message that the meeting time was at 5:00 and he didn't.
Right, but the reason I wanted to bring it up, and we've talked about it before. Have you ever had a situation where you like completely slept in or missed the meeting?
No, but in college, holy shit. David Klima from Roseville, Minnesota. What's up, Kleems? He was a freshman with me, and this kid was so skilled, but Jack Parker at BU could not stand him. And, he'd turn over once in a while, but a really good player. So freshman year, we all lived at Shelton Hall. Is it Shelton Hall? And, like, four of the freshman guys lived in the 4-bedroom or the 2-bedroom with 2 beds. And then I was across the hall with my buddy Brian Miller in a 1-bedroom. So we go to a meeting. We got worked by UNH, and we go to a meeting, and we're at the meeting, and Jack Parker's got the clips on, and he's stopping the video, and it's dark in the room, and he's like, and look at fucking Klima here, going for a skate. What do you know? Kleems just nowhere to be seen. What do you think of that, Kleems? And my boy Justin Meiser, I've mentioned, is like, sorry. Well, Kleems wasn't at the meeting. We're like, where the fuck is he? We'd been calling him. We'd been texting him. So we're covering up for him. He's not there. Somehow the lights turn on and Parker never realized he was gone. And sure as shit, he was lucky enough to not get caught. We go back to the dorm. We go into the room. He's sitting at the computer. Now, northern Minnesota. He looks at us. Hey, boys, where you guys been? He was playing Snood. He was fucking obsessed with Snood. Dude, this kid played Snood for 9 hours a day. He missed the meeting. Where you boys been?
What's Snood? Which one's Snood?
Snood was this game. It was like these weird creatures, and it took a hold of the internet in like 2001-ish. Yeah, 2002-ish. And you'd have to like get 3 of the same shapes, like monsters together, and then you'd hit them and they'd knock apart like Tetris, but not like Tetris. Basically, it took a hold of Klima's brain. It almost got him kicked out of school, I'll say. I don't even think he was studying anymore. It was just Snood all day and night.
Was he at least really good at it? Meeting. Was he like a Snood champion?
Oh, dude, he was probably going to like tournaments in Minnesota. From
texting people, send Snood.
All right, have you ever played Snood?
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, me neither.
Send Snood.
I was a Duke Nukem guy.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
What was that?
It was some computer game. Is it what, right, Grinelli? Were you a Duke Nukem kid?
No idea.
Do you guys remember Oregon Trail for original computer games?
No.
Oh my God! All right, did you guys hear that burp? That was that was what they did in Oregon Trail when they were literally on the Oregon Trail. That was like after eating a bison.
Yeah, I was already muted, and I went to go mute myself, and I unmuted me, so that's why he's got that pleasantness.
Oh my God.
I apologize.
Man.
Excuse me, I haven't done that in 5 years.
Let's sell that as an NFT.
Actually, if I could say where I came from, we can have a potential advertising partner here.
Wants to buy RA's burp on an NFT.
Can we do that, Piz? Can we sell burps as NFTs? Because I can make a bunch of other noises that we can sell as NFTs too.
I will say one of the funniest pizza reviews I've ever seen with Dave. It's just so random. He sold it as an NFT with just recently, right, Grinelli?
He did. It went live today.
Okay.
What's that going for right now? What's the highest bid there?
I don't know, but it's the one with the guy without arms.
And he was pulling a bag somehow. I remember that one.
It was unbelievable.
Maybe with his armpit hair.
We also want to give props to the Maple Leafs as well, Biz. Per Luke Fox, he said that Jason Spezza had an idea to pool some of their money to help out all the Marlies players who obviously weren't able to play a full season this year. So just a cool little thing to see these guys, especially
What
like
a guy.
Spezza. I mean, he's obviously he's made a shitload of dough, but he is making the rookie minimum in his position right now to come up and have that idea. It just speaks to his character.
That's class. That's a guy who's been around pro hockey for over 20 years now.
Because when I heard the story originally, it was hush hush. They hadn't announced how it all happened. It was just a very vague statement.
That's
so
awesome.
He was the one who initiated all that, eh, Whit?
Yeah, I guess so. Already just said that. I wasn't aware of that either. I didn't read the outline this week though, so sorry about that. But Spezza. I got to go to a camp in Vail before preseason one year. Actually, it was the craziest fucking camp of all time because James Shepherd, you remember James Shepherd?
Yeah.
Really good player for the Wild.
I
big
know, he
power
had a horrible quadding accident.
We were quadding on this trip and there was like a pole. I don't know what happened. He was kind of like speeding a little bit, hit the pole and went up over the handlebars, hit his femur into the handlebar. We get over there and it's fucking bone was sticking out of his leg. It was, and we're getting ready for the season. Great young player. It was an awful thing to experience. He was a great guy too, but that same camp. The reason I just thought of that is because I got to go one day. People went and did something, but Spez is like, "Hey, you want to go fly fishing?" And I had a blast. I'd never done it. I had no clue what I was doing. I don't remember if he'd done it prior. I think he knew what he was doing a little bit, but I was lost, right? Situate, Mass. I don't know how to fly fish. I don't even know how to regular fish. And I was born on a town in the ocean.
Brutal.
Spezza is just telling me stories, and he's my age, right? But he's just such a good guy that I'd never even gotten to know. And then I spent this day with him. You could have auctioned off the day I had with him for fucking $50,000. This guy is the nicest guy going, and he's just had a great career. So to think about him actually taking into consideration AHL guys and what they're going through, no surprise. Class act. He went fishing with me. You can bundle up some cash
what
for
a
AHL
guy,
guys.
Man. What a guy. Stick taps. Let's go. Stick taps for Jason Spezza.
Not too many. Never too many.
Okay, sorry.
Calgary lost defenseman Noah Hannafin for the rest of the year due to a shoulder injury. He's going to need surgery for that. So get well, Noah. Sorry to hear that. Friend of the program.
Man Rocket.
A couple times. Man Rocket, no doubt. Biz, how about Conor McDavid? Very chippy this season. We've seen him tossing some elbows to the Canadians' way. He looks like he caught Corey Perry the other night. In your words, the goonery continues.
The goonery continues. Oh my goodness! So it was funny. It was funny seeing the Connor haters come out, but it was also funny seeing everybody comment, "The league thanks you," because it was Corey Perry. So listen, I love when anything's happening Connor related, and when he's giving the sweet chin music to a guy who maybe deserves a little from his all his antics back in the day. I don't know. It was funny and something that I wanted you to mention. Did you see it, Whit? It was a bit of a flop. No,
Perry threw the head back. He did a great job. You were texting like Paros. You wanted McDavid suspended though, Biz. It was embarrassing. You were all over that.
Yeah, no, I did. I think that, as I said, no place in the league for that. I think McDavid should have got 2 games. I think they should fine him $100,000. I think 50 should go to me, and then we can move on.
He should have to go fly fishing with me. Also, shout out to the stat I read online of fucking McDavid. I think this season with him on the ice 5-on-5, the team is like plus 88 scoring chances or whatever it is. They're minus 180 5-on-5 when he isn't on the ice. It's one of the most dominating seasons you'll ever see. He's a runaway winner of MVP.
Yeah, they're gonna give him the Norris too. No, I'm serious. No, I heard Gary. I was on a conference call with Gary the other day. He said we're just gonna wrap it all up in a big fat fucking bow and give it to McJesus.
Vancouver Canucks. What was it last week? April 21st. What day was that? I believe Wednesday. They actually flew a banner in Vancouver, #fire Benning, which is hilarious because they just beat Toronto 2 games in a row to sort of kind of get back in the run. I mean, they have 5 games. They have 5 games in hand on Montreal. They're 8 points back. Guys, this isn't over yet. I know Calgary's got a tough uphill climb, but I think Vancouver's going to make a run at this, Biz.
I think so too, and I think that they're playing. Are they playing Ottawa at least a couple more times?
They got Ottawa again tonight, Monday.
Yeah, that's right.
They're no walk in the park, bud.
No, they're not. Oh,
and I'll tell you what helped was Calgary beat Montreal. So they're making things very, very interesting. As I said, I think that as far as rest is concerned, how many days and games they're going to have, I think Montreal is going to end up securing that position. But I tell you what, man, I really respect this team, because as soon as they were coming out of their whole shitstorm, Travis Green was like, no, we're 100% still going at this thing, guys. And they've done everything they can to keep in this race.
No doubt. We just mentioned the Sens, and they had a couple, I guess, sort of viral moments this week. First off, our buddy Brady Tkachuk threw the all-time Mike Tyson punch-out uppercut. He's lucky for Travis Hamonic he didn't catch it, but boy, memes get on that. You've seen that, right? Straight up shot.
He punched one of the banners in the rafters.
I mean, neither one connected, but it would have been a KO. But this was fucking hilarious.
Brady Tkachuk fights tough people, by the way. Like he doesn't give a fuck.
Him and I think Shea Weber were going at it a little bit. Even Lucic, I believe, in one of the replays.
He chucked him with Weber. He kind of got the best of him, actually.
That's right.
He's a killer.
Just like his old man.
Yep.
Saturday versus Vancouver, Artem and Anisimov. Well, technically, there's not E-Bugs this year because of the taxi squad situation. Anton Forsberg was supposed to start. He got hurt in warmups. Then Matt Murray left the second with a lower body injury. So Marcus Hogberg had to go from the taxi squad immediately into the game. Artem Anisimov was on the taxi squad. He became the number 2 goaltender, which is absolutely hilarious. He's like, 6'5" or something. Colin White was asked where to shoot against them. He says, anywhere, I would think. But so, I guess they had a bunch of fun in the locker room. He tweeted it out, was, playing around with the pads and stuff. Just one of the goofy little moments. I'm sure it broke up the season for them. Although, like we said, they haven't been nearly as bad as people thought in Ottawa.
And shout out Rink Rat right there for dropping the funny. Great line right there, Rink Rat.
Anywhere, I would think. Yeah, quotes don't always fucking sound as good when you read them here. Let's see. Moving over to the East. Congrats to.
Funny.
All right, thanks. You just didn't laugh. Congrats to Zdeno Chara on the 6th.
You guys done, or can we keep going? Tummy stick.
I was saying what White said was funny, not RA.
I thought it was a great quote, RA. Thanks for bringing it up.
Thank you, my man. Zdeno Chara, 1,600 NHL games. Congrats to him, having a great season down in Washington with the Caps. Pittsburgh, though, they're the squad playing hot as hell in that division right now. They've won 4 straight games to pass the Capitals. Jeff Carter, Biz, he's looked outstanding so far, not only in that uniform, but with the team. I already mentioned Crosby's 200-foot empty netter, but Biz, I know you wanted to talk about Carter for a sec.
Well, I mean, I think I saw him in the 3rd jersey, so I wrote him down in my notes about how big of a fucking man Rocky looked out there in warmups with no Bucky. But hey, he's been rejuvenated. He's fit right in, and I'm sure that like going to a team that's on the rise and heading into the playoffs the way they are, I'm sure he's looking at it like, hey, this could be one of my last years where I'm able to compete for a Stanley Cup. So, and I believe he's playing 3rd line center right now. And I forget who they had him with. I think they had him with McCann and somebody else. But just from like reading on social media, I can't watch every game, right? They seem to really like the line and they seem to bring a lot of energy, and they've been clicking well early. So it's cool, man. I'm excited to see how the East plays out, because it is tight as a. I don't even need you to beep it out this episode, Grinnell. I'll do my own work.
Don't say me. I went to Hoop Doctor today.
Oh yeah. Oh,
everything all good? Everything all good, all right?
Yeah, this was nothing like alarm stuff, as you have more maintenance stuff, but it's kind of like, I was like, you guys gotta buy me a drink here first. Next thing you know, Coldplay's on the radio.
So one finger right up your hoop, all the way, tickling around, seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
Which finger?
No, the little more. Yeah, well, they start with that, but they do give you a heads up first. But these people do it all day. Honestly, God bless medical care professionals who deal with maybe the unsavory aspects of the human body, because they got to sit there and look at people like me all day showing the.
Hey, so when I said thumb and you said
when
I said thumb and you said that's actually which one they use.
No, an instrument they put in there. It's good. There's no cause for alarm. Just kind of like getting old type of shit. Yeah, basically. But it was funny. I was sitting there laying on, like, because they like, just relax for a minute. So like everything relaxed. And then all of a sudden the radio's on and fucking a slow Coldplay song comes on. I'm sitting there like a Johnny with like fucking God knows what up my hoop with fucking Coldplay playing. I was like, this just got awful.
No. This is great. Our fans should hear about this stuff. You got to go for your regular checkups, everyone.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge advocate of that, especially guys, because we're hardos, and I know and this wasn't even like colonoscopy related. I know we're going deep here, but they say 50 years old, but if you feel like something's wrong, don't be afraid to push for an earlier age, because I've had to do that with doctors, because sometimes they put numbers on, but sicknesses don't know how old you are, so they don't wait for you to turn a certain age before they invade your body. So always listen to your body. If you have coverage, then there should be no reason not.
That was the most organic ad read ever on Spittin Chiclets podcast right there.
Yeah, all right.
You guys didn't even know.
Back to Chara, 5th defenseman all time to play 1,600 games. So that's quite an insane stat to hear. Pittsburgh, Crosby, man, this guy has not slowed down. I've never really pumped his tires on this show, and I think it's about time to really step up and say that for him to get, if he could finish 3rd in league scoring this year without Malkin, getting older, getting up there in age, it could be one of his best years you've ever seen him have. And if you look at his line, I don't know, I didn't do the research. Is there another line in the NHL where every player has 20 goals? Because Gensel's over 20, Crosby's got 20, and Brian Rust is over 20. And Brian Rust, dude, last year, I don't think he's as big enough and physical enough as Kunitz, but I mean, dude, offensively, last year's a point per game guy, like 56 points, 55 games. This year, he's a little bit under that, but he's got 20 goals. So he's gels perfectly with Crosby, and that team is good. I mean, I think that you got to give a lot of credit to Tristan Jarry. Letang's had a season where his name's being discussed as a Norris possible winner. And the team under Mike Sullivan, and then when Berkey and why am I drawing a blank? Who else came with Berkey? Hextall showed up. The entire season turned around. So if they can get Gino back and healthy, I don't know what's going on there. Who's to say that they can't go on a run?
Seriously. That's like Tampa adding Kucherov.
Yeah.
Malkin.
And they're playing way better than Tampa is right now.
Also, we got to mention about Sid. This is going to be his 16th season in which he's going to average at least a point per game. Only 2 guys ahead of him on the list, Wayne Gretzky and Gordie Howe. He just passed Lemieux, Messier, Francis, Marcel Dionne, and Joe Sakic. So just another thing he's done that we're going to make note of, because Crosby's pretty good, if you haven't heard. New Jersey Devils, man, just a disaster lately. Lost 10 straight, 0-3-1 in the week. They could end up in the bottom spot. We can't say the number 1 spot due to the lottery, but just a rough sled for them.
I was talking to Pasha, who's a hardcore New Jersey Devils fan.
Yeah, he said they'd be really good this year. He's an idiot.
So he said this. He goes, from a Devils fan perspective, he's like, perfect. He's like, we were entertaining early, kept me interested long enough, and now we're bombing, and there's a chance we get a very, very high pick. And he said, based on all their young guys that they're hoping are the ones in the future in the core group of their team, if you look at, so Pasha's a bit of an analytic guy.
He also, he always makes like the next thing going to be the great thing. He's like, he's
a great salesman for the Devils.
Yeah, he's bringing you that that mental pretzel where he's saying to me last year, like, why it's all good and rosy. He's never just like, yeah, it's not good right now.
And he was very, very happy that the fact that they're probably going to get a better draft pick as a result of all this, and their young guys, which they're hoping are going to lead the way, continue to progress in all categories, as he would say. He's very happy. He's in a good place. So according to Devils fans, they're laughing.
Hey, right now we do got quite a race to the bottom. I mean, Buffalo's been playing much better lately. They still are in the 31st spot with 33 points, but Anaheim and New Jersey only 2 points ahead of them. So it's going to be a race for number 1. Of course, you don't get that number 1 spot automatically anymore. A couple more notes here. Buffalo, their goaltender, this is their prospect for the future. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Is that how you say it? That's a tough one.
I don't know. That's why I texted it to you. I just wanted to hear you try to say it.
Yeah, Ukko-Pekka is his first name. And then Luukkonen, he beat the Bruins 6-4 in his first NHL start. I know he's a highly touted prospect, second-round pick back in 2017 for the Sabres, 54th overall. So let's see what happens with him going forward. I would imagine they'll get him a few more starts, considering they're not going to get to the playoffs this year. And we did mention Pittsburgh. The Islanders are also in the same division. Those, of course, are 2 Patrick Division teams back in the old Patrick Division days. And who played in the Patrick Division? Bryan Trottier. So we're going to bring him on very shortly. First, I do want to mention Larry Flowers Jewelry is a high-end jeweler who specializes in selling luxury watches, engagement rings, and jewelry. He has a massive inventory of all major watch brands, including Rolex, Patek, AP, and others. It's always the best price on market, guaranteed. Are you engagement ring shopping? Well, Larry specializes in sourcing the best desirable diamond options on market for your budget. He treats every client like family, and he never uses a pushy sales pitch. All jewelry and ring settings are manufactured using only handcrafted designer quality and always at wholesale prices. Larry backs that up with a 100% full trade-in on any future upgrade. That's because he only sells quality diamonds. Trust is everything in this business, and Larry is the guy's guy jeweler with only your very best interest at heart. He values relationships more than anything in the business, and satisfaction is always guaranteed. He's earned the trust of some of the greatest athletes in the world, and he takes a lot of pride in that. So be sure to check him out at Larry Flowers Jewelry on Instagram. Once again, at Larry Flowers Jewelry on Instagram. He is the trusted jeweler to the pros. And now we're going to send it over to Hall of Famer Bryan Trottier. Well, I think this intro might need an intermission. It's so long. Our next guest won 6 Stanley Cups, a Calder Trophy, a Conn Smythe, an Art Ross, a King Clancy, and a Hart Trophy in his 18 NHL seasons in which he missed the playoffs just once. Put up 1,425 points in 1,279 games and another 183 points in 221 playoff games. In case you're wondering, that's enough to get you into the Hockey Hall of Fame, as he did get in. And he also has a ring as an assistant coach with the 2001 Avalanche. Just an absolute legend of the game that we're honored to have on the show. Thanks so much for joining us on the Spittin Chiclets podcast, Bryan Trottier.
Now that's an intro right there. You forgot handsome, intelligent, debonair. There are a couple other ones.
I made him take those out. I made him take those out. I proofread it.
Well, we've been watching all these 70s Islanders clips. So you guys are wild men off the ice. So you guys are up to a lot of activities. Watching was it Battle of the Network Stars, the Superstars? We were watching those videos, man. You guys are wild.
I was the guy that made sure everybody got home safe. So designated driver, whatever you want to call it. It was
last guy at the party.
Same fella, yeah.
So you grew up in Val-Marie, Saskatchewan. I'm a bit of a map geek. That's just above Montana. Did you go to the States a lot when you were a kid, or was it always in Canada?
No, we were chasing cows down the States. They were that close to the border. Our cows got out. We'd have to go find them in Montana somewhere, and we'd blend them with some of the Montana best bulls. Like just let them run there for a few weeks, come back with all impregnated cows with some better bloodlines. But it was really fun. It's kind of badlands. It's very remote. A lot of farmers, a lot of ranchers. We were a little bit of both. And, the great little community. I mean, it's dynamic in a sense that it's energetic. Everybody kind of grabs a hold of the rope, and there's always fundraising going on in order to do your sports. And, we had that Christmas cheer basket ready to go to get us to those hockey tournaments, and, filled with the Mickey of this and a little 8 ounce of that. And it was really kind of a fun place to grow up. Some of those guys are still my best friends.
Now, I read your piece in the Players Tribune a few years back. You said you learned to skate later in life. So what's that, like 6 years old in Canada?
Well, I was 6. I was 6 years old, and everybody had been skating for 2 or 3 years prior to that. But we lived down the States for a while, and Dad was working road construction. And when we moved back to Canada in December of '62, I was 6, and everybody was skating. I loved this thing. It was great. But we had a little creek by the house, and I'd throw the skates on, walk down there with skates on, walk back up to crawl up the riverbank to get back to the house and warm up and roll back down there again. But there's a little beaver dam down there to get fresh ice. Dad would chop that thing open, and I thought every kid in Canada had a beaver dam. They get fresh ice. So it was really kind of again, unique in that aspect, but special for a whole bunch of reasons, because it was cold enough from like December, January, February, early March to start warm up, southwest corner of Saskatchewan. But no, there was lots of kids playing hockey. We had probably 8, 9 kids of my age. And then we had a couple kids older, a couple kids younger that got to play on our team. And we kind of stayed together all the way almost to midget. And then everybody just seemed to take off, started chasing girls. They started doing other things. And I was like, all of a sudden I'm playing in senior hockey, playing junior hockey, playing on 2 or 3 different teams. There was a town that my mom was from, Climax, about 40 miles away. And we joined forces. Willie Disjardins is from there. You guys know him from coaching in the NHL. And what a scoring machine he was growing up. But we just had a 50th anniversary. Our midget hockey team was Saskatchewan provincial champions back in the good old days. Just had a 50-year celebration. So we had about 12 guys on a Zoom call. So that was kind of fun. A lot of guys they didn't change much other than their hairlines, and the hair color got a little whiter. But it was kind of a fun little event to reunite with those guys.
Were those guys that throughout your career and winning all those cups and like your entire life you really stayed close with, or is it more you're just catching up with a lot of these people for the first time in quite a while?
Well, thank goodness, like we do keep up. Like Willie and I stay in touch. Mike Kirk, there's quite a few of us at Grant Goodall, Les Smithing, Kim Kindladel, all of us really. They're all farmers and from that neck of the woods. So I get home, we try to get together, but we stay in touch, through texting and cell phones mostly. But yeah, it's a great group of guys. Bernie Soren, Claude Jensen, that whole group. We grew up together, and it seems like from grade one till today, it's the same old jokes, the same old this, that, and other. But it's just like locker room. But the NHL, kind of, when you play with guys, and Ryan, Paul, you guys know this. You play with guys in the NHL that reminded you of the guys you played with when you were in minor hockey. Yes. And it's just so comical. It's like, oh man, that guy reminds me of Jensen. But that's the fun part, is like kind of reminiscing with those guys and sharing some of the NHL experiences with those guys, and vice versa, sharing stories with you guys of me growing up with these dingbats from Saskatchewan.
That's how everybody gets 10 nicknames. They keep referring them to the guys they used to play with so they can remember their names in the locker room. Next thing you know, the guy's got 10 names.
Exactly.
I read something that you got homesick at one point when you were playing junior of not being home, and Tiger Williams helped out with that. Was there any truth to that?
Yeah, it's one of those moments, and I think that kind of defines you to a degree, because I was so homesick and I was just getting ragdolled. It seemed like every other game some guy was thumping on me. And I was 16 years old, 160 pounds, playing against 19, 20-year-old guys that just asked me, you want to go? I go where? I didn't know they wanted to fight. And I just like so naive from the farm. And next thing you know, the guy's wailing on me and I'm going black eyes to school. I'm just so embarrassed all the time. But Christmas time, I went home, and I wasn't going back. In my mind, I wasn't going back. I didn't tell the coach. I didn't tell my teammates. I was just going to figure out a way to stay home. And, of course, Mom's got all my favorite, like turkey, pies, everything ready for – and I just couldn't – I said, December 26th, Boxing Day, we had a game up in Saskatoon, and I had to get on the road by 10, and there was no way I was getting on the road. Dad said, you better get going. No, I think I'm okay. The coach called. He said, you got to get here. It's 2:30. Like, the bus is leaving in an hour. And I'm like, no, I'm not sure. And I don't know, maybe something in my voice, maybe something my dad saw. I don't know. But next morning, Tiger Williams knocking on the door, and it's like 7 o'clock in the morning in a blizzard, of course. And he's got a GTO, mag wheels. He makes it all the way down to the ranch. And Mom goes, hi, Tiger, what are you doing here? Oh, would you like some breakfast? He goes, oh, yeah, thanks, Mary. I come to get Brian, take him back Swift Current. I said, no, Tiger. I said, I think I'm good home, dear. And Dad looked up from his coffee, and he said, I think, you can always come home. And that's probably all I needed to hear were those words, because next thing you know, I'm in the car driving back to Swift Current in blizzard with Tiger Williams. And he's going, hey, look, I'm going to play left wing with you for the rest of the year. No one's going to touch you for the rest of the year. And hockey was fun again. It was like having a big brother on the ice. Some guy would look at me and Tiger would just beat the crap out of him. I felt so bad for some of these guys, because they're probably saying, hey, nice goal, kid, or whatever. But Tiger just and no one touched me that whole year. And, of course, Tiger gets a few goals, and both of our careers kind of take off from there. And, he's been a best friend ever since.
That's when Tummy Sticks was created, Whit. When Tiger Williams joined his line, everybody's trying to make buddies with him all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, was he riding the stick then, or was that later on in the NHL?
No, he rode the stick in junior hockey, and nobody said a word to him. If you celebrated too heavy, guys are like, oh yeah, next shift, guys are all just beating up on you. Nobody bothered Tiger. He was like the only guy in junior hockey that could like go over the top celebrating. And it was so funny because he had this tippy toe, like pump your dance that he would do sometimes. And he'd change it up and just almost like in your face. I double dog dare you to come and like, challenge me. It's just, but in Flin Flon, he got challenged a few times. But he always came out of there, unscathed. But he was fearless, and he made us all feel fearless because of that. He wasn't a big man. He wasn't like 6'6", 260 pounds. In those days, he's like 5'11", 185 pounds, but he would take on anybody. And that gave all of us, we had Terry Wiskowski, who was not big, tough, Prince Albert kid. We had Brian Back from bigger Saskatchewan. New York's big, but this is bigger. And it's really kind of cool to have those little tough guys that were just fearless and tough. And Ian McPhee and Willie Friesen, good Mennonite out of Rosslyn, Saskatchewan. But we had a good squad of guys, and you gain confidence, and you feel bigger. And Tiger would grapple with me every practice. Like, it just beat me up, maul me. But he taught me how to grapple and protect myself. And got to the point where he couldn't hurt me after we grappled and practice. But he kind of taught me how not to be afraid of those great big monsters that we were playing against in junior hockey.
Going back to Tiger, like off the ice and as a teammate, he seems like the most unbelievable guy. When he would get on the ice, would he put this like mask on? Because you see all these tapes of how like he was a short wick. I mean, he would just snap and go crazy. Was he like on the ice? Was he like snarling at guys and shit?
There was, I think, a Tiger that played hockey and a Tiger who was your friend, a Tiger who's a dad, a husband. I think there's multiple Tigers, but I know him as Tiger, my best friend. And even on the ice, he would stay that come on, kid, we got to go. Let's go. Come on. We need a goal. Come on, let's go. And that kind of encouragement. And like, he's a little older than me, but I used to say to myself, it was wonderful having a guy like that who was so hungry all the time. And he found a way to make the NHL, because like, he used to say to me like, hey, we're going to practice skating. Hey, we're going to practice snapshots. Hey, we're going to practice this. He found a way to make the NHL. But by doing that, he kind of pulled me in and made me feel like, oh, there's a little extra work that has to get done here in order to improve. And I think those hours of working together, him teaching me how to protect myself, and me and him working on different skills, I think really helped us both. But he was an impressive guy.
I think for our younger listeners, we should note Tiger Williams as the all-time penalty minute leader in NHL history with 3,971. Just, I figured it's worth throwing in there. Now, I know you said he taught you how to fight a little bit, Trotz, but you must have had to prove yourself at a certain point at that era of hockey, correct?
Oh, without a doubt. And, I scrapped in junior hockey all the time, but I don't think I won any. I used to be so happy with sitting in the penalty box and be like, ooh, not too bad. Good. I'm still together here. Not too bad. But I got to the NHL. I had a couple of scraps early, and guys would be bringing my equipment over to the penalty box, a helmet or a couple gloves and a stick or whatever. And, I'm thinking I did really good. I'm huffing and puffing. You know how exhausted you are after a scrap. And I can barely lift my arms up, and I'm like, hey, God, I did it. And guys would be saying stuff like, that was the ugliest fight I've ever seen. Oh, you better not fight anymore. You're giving the other team too much inspiration. I'm like, what? I thought I did really good. Like, it's really my own teammates were ripping on me. I'd sit there for 5 minutes and going, those dirty dogs. They're like, I thought I did okay, but yeah, it was comical. Clark Gillies came by one time and he goes, you ever have another fight, I'm going to kick the crap out of you. I'm like, what was that all about? He's like, well, you break a hand or something, and you miss That's 8 true. Weeks, like I think I'm going to like beat the crap. I was like, okay, never thought of it that way. So, but when I got in a couple of scraps, I wouldn't try to punch somebody's helmet. I just got to get in tight and do the noogie punches, the little short ones, and try to get a couple like short and stiff ones in, take a couple short stiff ones back. I remember Gary Nyland was saying, like he said, your head was just going back and forth like as often as that guy's fist was. I was like, thanks, Gary. I thought I was doing okay.
You brought up your dad. Was he like who got you into the game, and like, where you really found like your love of hockey from?
Well, mom and dad both. Yeah, they both very encouraging for activities. Schoolwork was important, but they were very supportive in all sporting activities. Anything that we tried to do, music, rodeo, gymkhanas, whatever it was, they were right there. And dad was a very good athlete. Mom was too. But it was really kind of neat to be able to have your dad as a coach and a guy to drive you and kind of, mentor you on the way there and kind of like rip on you and critique you on the way home. But it was pretty special. He was important all the way through to the NHL. And even after the NHL, he still wanted to be a big part of that. And so I'd, call him up and what do you think last night? And okay, 20 minutes later on the phone, he's done critiquing my game and Hockey Night in Canada. But it's really kind of neat to have him always in the mix. Mom was always the one that kind of like gave me like the good guy, aspect of a game. Like, oh, I thought you were fantastic. Oh, you passed the puck so well. Oh, you worked hard. You back checked really hard. She was always looking at the good, where dad kind of like nitpicked at some of the things I got to work on. And but I think you have that little, good cop, bad cop in parenting. I think really helped. But no, it was very important for all 5 of us kids. Mom had 5 kids, and all of us felt like we were her favorite.
Bryan, you got drafted by the Isles in 74, but you were also drafted by the Cincinnati Stingers of the WHA at a time when they were offering guys a lot of dough. Was that ever a real option for you, signing with the WHA at any point?
Well, they pulled the contract. They offered me $50,000 for 10 years, which is $500,000 more money than my dad was going to see his whole lifetime. And it had to be tough for Dad. And but to Dad's credit, he found a local attorney in Swift Current, and that local attorney, which was his personal lawyer, said, "This is beyond me. Why don't we go find somebody who's a player agent for you?" And so we interviewed 2 or 3. Al Ingleson, I think it was Chottier, and a fellow named Sorkin, and a few other guys out of Saskatoon. I think it was the Pinder brothers. But we went with this group from Montreal, Larry Saisant and David Chottier, and same ones that Dennis Potvin had, ironically. But it was really kind of neat because they said, don't say anything. We're just going to go to the draft. And Cincinnati ends. They go in the draft. We're going to pull the contract. They pulled the contract. And yeah, I didn't care. I didn't have money anyway. But the Islanders end up offering, on the way there, this is a fun story. Dad was like, okay, whatever they offer us, just remember, we're not going to take it because their second offer is going to be better than their first, So I was like, okay, good. We got a game plan. So we flight to Montreal, Mom and Dad get looped on the plane, free booze and everything in first class. And they're buzzed. They're trying to shake the cobwebs off. We get off the plane into the limo up to the thing. There's Bill Torrey. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Trottier. Okay, Brian, here's your contract. We're going to give you a $500,000 signing bonus, $100,000 for 5 years. My dad goes, "Where's the pen?" I'm like, "Dad, what happened to the plan?" He's like, "Oh, nobody's going to crazy offer you any more money than that. That's way more than Cincinnati."
Fuck the plan.
He thought they were going to offer you like $5,000.
Yeah, exactly. If they're crazy to offer you this much, we're going to sign this
poker
thing.
face.
And the thing is, Dad had to sign that contract because I turned 18 in July. We signed that thing in June. I had to sign the contract after my birthday in September. Later on, it was really kind of fun. Dad signing my first contract. I'm probably proud as a peacock. Who knows? But and they say, okay, and you get a car of your choice. And now they're looking at me, and I said, a car of my choice, and they're probably a Lamborghini or whatever. And I look at my mom and dad. I go, Chrysler New Yorker. We're getting a Chrysler New Yorker. And my dad's just beaming. So when I went for New York, I tossed the keys, and he got the Chrysler New Yorker, 74 Chrysler New Yorker, and just bells and whistles, everything on there, leather seats and everything. I came back the following spring, and the car's gone. I'm like, where's the car? He goes, I traded in for a van. I couldn't fit all my musical instruments into it. I was like, oh, whatever. His car to deal with. It's just fun. Fun stories.
Your rookie year, you come in and just dominate. And what's funny about the Islanders, they had been Potvin's rookie year, I think, was 2 years prior, and they weren't very good. And then the second year, they improved. And then the third year, he was outstanding, 100 points. He wins the Norris, you win the Calder, and the team just took off. Like, I can't imagine the feeling for you coming in and knowing what they'd been through and immediately making that much of an impact. Was it overwhelming how good you were playing your first year?
Well, it was kind of fun to be a part of that early success with the Islanders. Like, to come in, you have confidence, but you don't know, you're just dying to contribute somehow. But Al Arbour put me in a situation, put me with good players, Clark Gillies, Billy Harris the first year, and then on the power play, and we're clicking along. So things are happening, and we're riding that wave. But they had a little success in the playoffs the year before against the Rangers and Pittsburgh, and then Philly. They went to 7 games and those 2 series and lost against Philadelphia. So they were kind of riding the wave themselves, but that team was young, and they were building through the draft. Obviously, we get Mike Bossy the next year, and it's just kept snowballing from there. And all of a sudden, Kenny Morrow and John Tonelli and Dave Langevin, Dwayne Sutter, more guys are coming on, and big trade with Butch Goring. But that growing year, that rookie year was kind of special for a whole bunch of reasons because, no one anticipated. I was not a high faluted draft choice. I kind of snuck in under the radar, second rounder. Pat Price was the first rounder that year, and there was a lot of hype going in about a bunch of guys, and I snuck in there. Next thing you know, I'm kind of bouncing around the scoring championship and the scoring lead, and it was really kind of fun to finish, I think top 15 or something that year, and be competing against the Gilbert Perreaults and the Guy Lafleurs, but you gauge yourself all the time, right? That's what you do. You just keep gauging yourself. You say, hey, I can play at this level. All right. Oh, Daryl Sittler, that was a tough game. Oh, Bobby Clark. Oh my God. Now that's intensity, and you just keep gauging yourself and finding yourself. Next thing you know, you're at a level where people are respecting you, and you don't want to lose that respect. So you kind of keep fighting, banging away as best you can. And, obviously I wasn't a heavyweight or a middleweight or a lightweight when it comes to the Dukes, but, you gain a little respect when you're hitting guys clean, you're hitting guys solid, you're not hitting the guys that aren't hitting you kind of thing. And, I was banging guys that were banging me. And so like that kind of thing, you kind of ebbs and flows and you kind of find yourself through that. But it was a fun year. And obviously you're dodging bullets, not trying to get your neck broke, because everybody's out to break your neck that rookie year. I mean, I'm telling you, if it wasn't for Clark Gillies, and I'm saying this because I went from Tiger Williamson Jr. to Clark Gillies in the NHL. And I remember I was in a show, kind of a stare down with Jerry Korab and Jimmy Schoenfeld in Buffalo, and they're both coming at me. I'm like backing up a little bit. I'm like, I have to fight one of these monsters. And all of a sudden I bump into Clark Gillies behind me, and he goes, "Everything all right?" And those two guys just kind of peeled away. I was like, "Yeah, it is now. Thanks, big boy." But,
thanks, big boy.
Oh my God, that's so funny. So when you get to training camp that year, do you 100% think you're making the team? Because you said you were 22nd overall. So I don't know how common it was back then for a guy to get drafted and boom, step right in.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of pressure because I could go back and play another year junior. So I still had a year of junior left. And Bill Torrey and Al Arbour were kind of friendly about it. They were like, "Look, come to camp, do your best, whatever, and we'll see where you are. If you go back to junior, you'll still have Earl Ingerfield to coach you in junior again." And so I didn't have a ton of pressure on me. And there were 60 rookies at camp that year. And we're all in one large locker room at Racket and Rink on Farmingdale in Long Island. And every day, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8 guys would leave. So after that first week or two, we're down to like 12 guys in this big locker room. And at the end of like the month, I'm in there all by myself with, all the Gatorade and the gum and everything on. I'm like, where did everybody go? And they moved me down to the weight room at the big room down with the big guys. And all the guys are ripping on me there saying, "Okay, kid, it's getting closer to the exit door." And so you're always like being teased and you're feeling a part of it. And, I went through training camp. I didn't get a point, not an assist, not anything, but I was generating stuff. I was bumping bodies. Anything that moved or had the puck, I kind of got a piece of them. And Al Arbour came up to me at the end of training camp and he goes, "Kid, we're going to keep you around for a while." So I had a few games, I think, in the NHL to play before they sent me back to junior. So I come out of the blocks and being first home game, I get 5 points, 3 goals. And it just kind of took off from there. Bang, 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 bang. And I don't know. You got to be lucky to be.
Well, yeah,
I'd rather be lucky than good, Paul.
Decent start. What was your relationship with Al Arbour? Because we had Sutter on, and obviously he's kind of like that father figure, very stern. Did he kind of nurture you a little bit more because you came in at such a young age?
Yeah, I think he definitely was a father figure for all of us young guys especially. We had such respect for him. He treated us like a dad. Like he always said this. I said, Al Arbour said the same 2 things my dad said to me, smarten up and bear down. And those 2 things, like I said, Jesus Christ, like talking to my own dad. But he was just really firm, very fair. He didn't yell at me if I didn't deserve it. And like, for example, he'd say, bear down those faceoffs. I'm like, "Well, what was I last night?" He goes, "Doesn't matter, bear down." I'm like, "Well, what was I in the defensive zone? What was I like on the power play?" He goes, "Just bear down." I'd look at the stats and I'd be like 50, 55, 60%. And I'm like, but that's overall, like some of those ones at neutral zone, sometimes we just let those go to go pressure the clunky defenseman. Sorry, Ryan. But,
oh, I love this shit. Keep those coming, please. Keep those coming.
I got nothing either. I got nothing for you.
Not that Ryan was a clunky defense, but
you look like Billy Joel, but I got nothing else.
Sometimes we pressure the defenseman and just lose a draw, depending where it is. And but he would always make sure that I was kind of like focused all the time. But I have great respect for Al. The power play was fun because he'd say, we go for 0 for 5 or maybe 0 for 10 the last 2 games or something. And he'd go, "You guys go down there, work on the power play, figure things out." That was the power play. We're like, "Okay, away we go." So we go down there, we pass the puck, and he goes, "I don't want anybody to hold that puck too long. Move that puck quick." And that's all he would say. And that's the fun of Al. He kind of left things up to you, and he'd send 2 of us on the ice sometimes and say, "Okay, you 2 guys go take the face off." And Butch Goring and I'd be looking at each other. "You taking it or am I taking it?" "Well, you guys figured it out." We're like, "Okay, are you good against him?" "I'm doing pretty good." "Oh, he's a righty. You take him." And it's really kind of that kind of thing. He kind of give you that that opportunity to kind of like figure things out yourself rather than constantly harp on you. And so that I think we all gained a little maturity because of that, and a lot of respect for Al because of that. I think, and vice versa, we hope. But he was a great mentor to all of us.
Bryan, your fourth season, you're just 22 years old, 78, 79. You end up winning the MVP, led the league in scoring with 134 points. Did it almost feel like everything was easy for you that season, relatively speaking?
Well, Mike Bossy was on fire. I think he scored something like almost 70 goals. I mean, he was just red hot, and we were riding that and the fact that he wanted to he was trying to go 50-50, and a whole bunch of things were happening. And it was just really kind of a unique opportunity to kind of like take advantage of a scoring championship. In the last couple of weeks, Al was double shifting me, and things were happening, and I was kind of neck and neck, and all of a sudden I got ahead a little bit, and then Guy Lafleur have a 5-point game, Marcel Dionne have a 5-point game. I'm like, oh my God, this is kind of fun. Just to be in the race was interesting. And then the last game, I always say to Jimmy Rutherford, he shut out Montreal 1-0 in Detroit. He was the goaltender for Detroit, and I always thank Jimmy for helping me win the scoring championship, because he goes, well, it took you long enough, to thank me, 25 years, whatever. And I'm like, hey, yeah, but we couldn't talk. No, there was no fraternizing with the opposition back in the good old days, Jimmy. But it's really kind of neat that last game, Marcel Dionne got 5 points like that night, and he finished like 2 points behind me. And then Guy Lafleur and I were neck and neck, and I got a couple points that night, so I finished a couple points ahead of Guy Lafleur. So it was really kind of magical for a lot of reasons, and it's nice to have your name on that one trophy. But it reflects on all the guys, that whole team, because everybody was pulling for me. I remember Mike Kazicki came off the ice, like, Trotz, get out there. I'm like, okay, I just come off that, and bing, I get an assist. So like those kinds of things, like you appreciate your teammates for those moments.
Biz, he's like, it's nice to be on that one trophy. Like, dude, your name's on 14 trophies. Like, hey, what about Bossy though? Playing with him that year or every year he played, is it put up forehand, backhand, put it in his feet? Doesn't matter. He's scoring.
Exactly. It's a scoring machine. Like it didn't matter where you threw it at him. Like you could throw a knuckleball, a grenade at him. He'd knock it down, slap it, go and then find a hole. And it's really kind of cool playing with a guy like that who has that scoring confidence. And then I roomed with him on top of it. So, and then we'd talk about it. He'd go, hey, just, next time put a little more in front of me, or like, okay, I'm just throwing it at you somewhere. Sometimes you just threw it to a space and let him walk into it. And, but those goal scorers, they just know where to find themselves. And Clark Gillies, our left winger, gets so mad he'd say, how come there's two guys checking me and Bossy gets 50 goals and no one's checking him? But I guess he just kind of lure the guy by, and next thing you know, he kind of sneak away and find some open ice. And it was just kind of the magic of a Mike Bossy, but special hockey player, underrated playmaker, stick handler, underrated speed, just underrated on a lot of things. And so the two of us, we kind of giggle about it because, we'd never say, oh yeah, Mike's the goal scorer. Oh yeah, I'm just kind of the little playmaker. But, we'd both kind of finished up with a lot of goals. We both kind of finished up with a lot of points, and we, oh yeah, well, we're lucky there, or whatever, because we want those checkers to concentrate on him and not take him seriously on his playmaking and his speed, because that was our deception. And me on the other side being kind of deceptive anyway. I like to, and I'm just going to kind of be the Louis Tiant here, throw a knuckleball at the net when Mike's throwing these grenades, these fastballs, and I come in with that changeup. The goalie's waiting for it, and it drops under his glove or something. But it's special when you have that kind of yin and yang with one guy, and then the trio of Clark Gillies, the power forward, the big brother on, and he was massive, and he was a good hockey player. To have that kind of that trio grande, Clark Gillies called us, and that unique magic of three guys, and it was special. I mean, we rode that way for a good 10 years.
He come up with that nickname, Gillies? We were going to ask you about that. Trio Grande. That's a fantastic
Trio Grande,
nickname.
yeah. The Trio Grande. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like the further we get away from that time, people don't know just how good guys like Potvin and Bossy were. And Bossy didn't, his career was cut short with his injuries. But, I mean, he could have probably put up 700, 800 goals if he didn't have his career cut so short, you'd think.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, he's on pace. I mean, he still, I think, holds a record for goals per game by a long shot. It's not even close. I mean, there's some guys like Wayne is a special hockey player, scores 800 goals. I mean, that's unique. And there's guys like, Mike Gardner, 600, Marcel Dionne, 700. There's guys, and you got Ovechkin now. It's a goal scoring machine. but they're not even close to Mike yet. I don't believe, but I think Mike is just one of those individuals, and he just loves scoring goals. He had a knack for it, and prided himself on it, and he just really made it. And guys would sometimes, I think, misunderstand him, like he's nothing but selfish. Well, there's a good selfish in that, that good selfish. He wants to contribute. He feels a goal scorer should find a way to score goals. And, if we won the game and he didn't contribute, he didn't feel happy. He was happy about the team, but he didn't feel happy individually. And guys misread that sometimes, but no, he's a great guy, great friend. And, obviously just a tremendous, tremendous hockey player.
You said you were roommates together on the road, or when you were on Long Island?
No, he roomed with me for a while. He was a newlywed, so he and his wife Lucy bunked in with us for 3 or 4 months till they found their apartment. And but we were roommates on the road for all 10 years. Yeah, all 10 years. Wow. So it was just kind of unique when you walk into a room. You know what bed to go to. You know what TV channels you're going to watch. It just
a married couple.
It's worse than a married couple. The little bickering that goes on is comical. The teasing but lots of laughter. Always had a backgammon thing or some cards or something. Just because we'd find little things that amused us or kind of passed the time a little bit that both of us really enjoyed, and same kind of comedy on TV or movies or whatever. And it was same kind of food choices. Like sometimes room service night. Yeah. Okay. Room service. Okay. We're going out. Okay. We're going out. Where we're going. Okay. We're going for steak, whatever. And it was never an argument. It was just like, oh yeah, that sounds good. Boom. And same thing on the ice. I mean, sometimes you just look at him. He'd look back at me. We'd nod. How the heck did you know what I was thinking? I don't know. But it was just that kind of a friendship or unique magic or whatever you want to call it, chemistry that kind of works between a couple guys.
It's funny, like two guys, you could probably point at the equivalent of a Motel 6. Now you couldn't get two superstars in the same room, and they're staying at the Ritz. It's funny how much things have changed in that regard. But when you guys started winning, even though you're based on Long Island, you must have started owning New York City at a certain point because you were so much better than the Rangers.
Well, New York was where that was Ranger country, and we'd go in and watch a play or go to dinner or something, and a Ranger fan would say, "What are you doing here?" And they'd kind of do it to kind of tease us. We knew that, hey, just visiting, but we didn't try to go in to own New York City. It was a respect thing. Like that was kind of Ranger territory. We love Long Island. We spent all our time on Long Island, most of it, 99% of it, but we love going to the city for the events or like for charity events or dinners or a play or something. That was really fun. But we didn't try to own New York City. That was definitely Ranger territory. And the rivalry with us was always on the ice because the Ranger guys off the ice, we always blend. And like we do now with the NHL alumni. And it's really kind of nice to get along at a golf event or share some of the same kind of fun events and community and that kind of fun. But on the ice, it was rivalry. It was go time, and there was no friends. It didn't matter if we were golfing buddies. 2 months ago in the summertime, it was all go rivalry time, and now we're trying to win a hockey game. So it's gloves off, and it was great, and it brought out the best in both teams. There's a magic of having those rivalries. We even see it today because it's a carryover for years and years and years of rivalries that just seem to go on and on and on, and the fans are the beneficiaries because they see the best. They see intensity from both teams. What are your memories of the first Cup run? Because to break through and then get that group to just really take that next step, and little did you know what it was the beginning of. But what are your memories of the first one, the celebration, and all that? That was pretty fun in Long Island because everything was fresh and new. We were young, so everything that happened was a first time. So we go against the Triple Crown line first round, and boom, we sneak by those guys. And what a series! I mean, Billy Smith was fantastic in net, but we got some key goals from Butch Goring went nose to nose with his former teammate. He wanted to go against Dion the whole time, and basically shut Marcel down. 5-on-5 and power play, whatever, but. We got Butch Goring. That trade was unique in itself, and we lost two good guys to get him. But then we go up against the Bruins, and obviously, they are tough, and they're going to challenge us. And we had Gillies, Nystrom, Gary Howitt. We got Gordy Lane, and even Smitty, I mean, we battled and we stood up and we found ourselves confident. We did really well against the Bruins, and all of a sudden, Terry O'Reilly and Clark Gillies had a couple rows, and we felt all right. Our big guy beat their big guy, and I'm sure the Bruins said, well, our big guy beat your big guy, but we kind of we try to grab whatever you can in order to keep that confidence. And but our power play was rocking. We get up against the French Connections in Buffalo, and we lose first 2 games, win the next 4 straight, and it was like all of a sudden we're saying, we're on a roll here. This could be magic time, and we meet the Flyers in the finals, our division rivalries, and they have the best record. They went like 37 games in a row without a defeat. I think they had a few ties in there, but Pete Peters was on fire, their goaltender, a young rookie, and our power play was that they took penalties. Thank goodness they were trying to make us retaliate and that kind of stuff, get us in these scrums. And I would just say, hey guys, just keep to hockey, and boom, boom, boom. Our power play just stayed hot, and boom. Next thing you know, they're bringing out the Stanley Cup and we're pumping it up in the air. But it's so fun. Like Long Island, we all didn't know how to celebrate. We just didn't know how to celebrate, and there was no day with the cup, and there was nothing like that. But I think I wanted my time with the cup. And so we're at the Beaver Dam Country Club that night. And I said to Bill Torrey, I said, Bill, where's the cup going after tonight? He goes, just going back to my house. I said, can I take it to my house and I'll bring it to the parade tomorrow? He goes, yeah. And I didn't tell anybody else. I just grabbed the cup, took it out, threw it in my car, and took off. But I wanted to wake up with the cup at the foot of my bed to be the first thing I saw when I woke up in the morning. So I opened the drapes, and I knew the sun would be coming in there. It couldn't have worked any better. I opened my eyes, and there was the holy grail of hockey just shining like you dream about. And I always say it was probably magnificently perfect in that sense, because there's nothing like it. I just always say to myself that moment with my cup at, when you dream about it as an 8-year-old, and now it's that reality. I've got my time, and I can remember wanting to hug this thing, and you feel the names that are etched on it, and you read the names, Gordie Howe, Jean Beliveau, Stan Mikita, Bobby, all those great names, Bobby Orr, and they're going to put my name on this thing forever, and it's going to be there. It's magic.
Were you spooning with the Conn Smythe? Did you win the Conn Smythe that year?
I did win the Conn. I didn't spoon with it. I should have. I should get a picture of me spooning with the Conn Smythe. But that trophy, it's a big maple leaf, and Jean Beliveau won the first Conn Smythe. And to me, Jean Beliveau, Gordie Howe, those are the 2 biggest names I could think of when I was a kid. There's nobody bigger. And I used to say to myself, here's Jean Beliveau's name, here's Gordie Howe's name on this thing. And I'm like, wow, I cannot believe this little kid from Saskatchewan. But it brings you down. It's so humbling to think that you're part of these great players that, they were like your heroes as a kid. And, but it was, again, that reflects on your team. They could have picked 5 or 6 guys that year to be the Conn Smythe on our team, and everybody would have said, yeah, great choice. And then every year after that, Butch Goring won a year, Mike Bossy, and then Billy Smith. And every year we all said, yeah, great choice. And it could have been Dennis any one of those years. It could have been Clark Gillies, anybody, Bobby Nystrom. Bobby scored all the overtime goals. And he and Mike Bossy. And if somebody was said, John Tennelly, we all said, yeah, because that's how you need everybody. And everybody feels like they're such a big part of it. And whoever wins the Conn Smythe, we're as happy as a clam for them.
Right, there's an old clip of you guys. I think it's a fundraiser or a fashion show. It looked like something out of Slapshot. Nystrom has a fur coat and a Speedo on, and someone's up there doing Elvis. You guys look like a bunch that had a lot of fun back then, in addition to the winning.
Well, they did. They had these fundraisers and in a contest, and you had to come out and try to be you bring out your best talent other than hockey. And oh my God, it was just comical because John Tennelly was such an Elvis fan. He did a great Elvis impression. And Butch Goring he tried to do the Saturday Night Fever guy, Danny Terrio or whatever. And I was cracking up. John Travolta.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh my God.
Was it brutal?
Oh, he had the big, loud, shirt and tight pants on. He did it. He actually really put his heart and soul in it. It was really kind of great. And Clarky did the Gambler, and I was trying to play guitar. But it was really those kinds of things are fun because people get to see another side of you, that's not hockey related, but it's kind of like funny fun. And so the comedy of it was better than the talent, believe me.
What was your talent?
No talent, but I tried to strum a guitar and pretend I was like a country western star. Like I think I tried to sing a Johnny Cash song or something, and I didn't get booed. I think I got a polite hand, like a
golf clap.
Yeah, exactly.
Just keep winning us cups. We'll give you a fucking hand here at your dog shit performance. I got you one back, Whit.
Yeah. Hey, were you guys doing beers after like every win or every game at this point, or no?
You know, it was really comical
in the locker
because guys were sneaking beers. Everybody, like back in those days, like Eddie Westphal was the captain. He'd give somehow magically we'd have 48 beer on the bus going to the airport, and a couple in the locker room. And then finally, Al just said, "You know what? You guys are going to sneak it. We're going to put 2 beer in everybody's locker after every game, win or lose." And I think it just kind of calmed everybody. Like this sneaky aspect of it was gone. And but I don't drink beer because beer makes me feel bloated. And so I was a very popular guy post game because Clark Gillespie just kind of walked by my stall. I'd hand him one. Smitty was right across from me. He'd give me the eyeballs. I'd say, "Okay, you get one too." But it's fun. Those are just fun memories of beer time.
Yeah. A wine guy?
I don't mind a glass of wine. Yeah, a little vodka, the little New Amsterdam here and there. Yeah, it's all good stuff.
Nice plug. The Italian restaurant, Borelli's next door. You guys stopping there frequently?
We had a lot of places on Long Island. We stopped post game at practices, like after practices, like out in Farmingdale. We had a little place, but I was 18, 19, and 20 years old, and it was 21 to get in those bars. I'd have to try to sneak me in once in a blue moon. But, but I hit some restaurants like, the Wheatley Tavern Inn. That was kind of like a family place. I could go in and not have to hide. And, Chubby Zano was the owner, and he always have a stool, like a little quiet booth ready for me, and those kinds of things. But Long Island was special because they treated us like we were kind of golden boys to a degree. At the same time, I think the guys didn't run with it; they didn't take advantage of it. It was a pretty special time. Like not just the fans, the hockey fans, but the people of Long Island were just really good. All the businesses and the community, they all appreciated us because eventually we all had kids going to school. So we're a big part of that community. And Long Island is just a bunch of little towns put together. So it was like a bunch of little Val Marie, Saskatchewans all pushed together to make one big town. Like, Huntington was a big city. I mean, it had 50,000 people or 100,000 people, but it was, you go out to Smithtown and way out to Port Jeff. And I mean, every little town was unique in a sense, but Long Island's a special place, good people.
I know you said you didn't go to New York too often, but did you guys at least make it to Studio 54 once? That was during the heyday.
Oh my God, Studio 54. We went to Studio 54 a couple times, and it was just like the beat would hit you. It was all like a boom, 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 And then they had this plant, and I had no clue what the heck marijuana was like, but they had this plant that stood by the door. You walk in, and people would like Diana Ross walked by us. She grabbed a hunk of leaf and started chewing on it. I'm like, what is that? Oh, some kind of hemp plant or something, like whatever. So people are like, I have no clue what's going on. I'm a hick from Saskatchewan. I didn't try any of the leaves. I'm like, no, thanks. I got a hockey game tomorrow. Yeah, no way. Sure. No way, Jose.
Good save, Brian.
Yeah, I mentioned it after the intro too. The superstars on ABC that you appeared on. I mean, you guys were obviously big athletic celebrities back then. What would they do? Fly down to the Bahamas for like a week, and you go against like Moses Malone and Lou Ferrigno and stuff like that?
It was great. We go against the basketball players, the boxers, football players, baseball players, and to meet some of these guys. They're not just great players; they're just really good people. And God, we had some fun down there. But I came in third the 1 year. Wayne Grimdich, he was a water skier. What an athlete he was. And then the following year, I came in second to a fellow who was a paddleball champion. And what an athlete he was. But I picked all the tough events like bowling, something that didn't require a lot of athleticism. I snuck a big win out of that. But it was really kind of special because they had golfing. They'd have this rowing machine. They'd have an obstacle course. And it was kind of challenge yourself, a bike race. I remember doing the bike race, and there was Taller Cranston was a figure skater, and he was a favorite. And they said, you know, this is what I do. This is how I train. You know, I'm on a bike all the time. Da 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 da. So he's going to win it. And I'm like, well, I better stick close to Taller. You know, like I'm going to not get him out of my sight. And he was all the interviews before, and we take off, and I'm trying to like let him go in front of me, and he wouldn't. He's trying to draft me, and I'm like, oh. So I just kind of peeled off, and my back tire hit his front tire, and I hear, poof, 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 and he gets a flat tire, and he's kind of holding his bike off to the side. I came around about the second time, and he's standing there giving me the dirty eye as I go by. I said, "I'm sorry, Taller. I was waiting for you." And so we had a good laugh about it afterwards. I said, "Why didn't you go in front of me?" Because I wanted to draft you. And I want to draft you because you're the favorite. But there's a really fun stories in that thing. We had a boxer, what's his name, Banks. What a monster he was, and he just pumped weights, and he just like one hand put like 250 pounds over his head, and he won the weightlifting no problem.
Bryan, as the dynasty kind of rolled on, like did you guys like feel internal pressure mount? Did it get too hard to manage all the personalities and like, or did it just stay even keel the entire time, like as in the first cup right to the fourth?
Yeah, there's always a little something different every season, whether you know a new player comes on, the chemistry, whatever. We had there were very little change. There was 14 guys or something like that were on all four cups, so the nucleus kind of stayed together. It was kind of like the deeper players. You have to make yourself deeper. You know, you want to raise that level of you know, one guy goes down and when you have somebody to replace him really strong. So we had Mike McEwen come on, we had Brent Sutter come on for a couple, and we got deeper. LaFontaine and Flatley came right at the end. But the thing that I noticed the most, Paul, is you just the wear and tear. Like on reflection, like through it, you don't even think about it. You're not thinking, man, I'm tired, I'm wore out. But on reflection, it's just wear and tear on your whole team and your body, and the amount of games you play, and you know, the intensity of the playoffs. But we felt comfortable in that skin as far as playoff time. You know, you get more comfortable with the pressure, you get more comfortable with what's expected. But it was wear and tear on the body, and you know, I think even management felt there was some wear and tear, so they're trying to, you know, infuse younger players like LaFontaine and Deneen and Flatley and those guys. And but we're still getting some great play out. Like Kenny Morrow was scoring us some big goal, and you know, Mike Bossy was still scoring big goal. But it was just that kind of thing more so than expectations. The expectations was great. Those creepy Oilers came along, and uniquely we'd meet them in the finals back to back. And great guys, great champions. If you're going to lose to somebody, lose to great guys and great champions. But to their credit, Gretzky tells that story about walking by our locker room, and we're not celebrating. You know, we have ice packs, and we're like all beat up, and there's a price to pay and that kind of stuff, which was kind of good. But that's not the story that we remember, because they had to go by our locker room to get to their bus after the game. And hockey players, we're not going to rub salt in the room. So we had a kid waiting out there, like. And he'd say, hey, two guys are coming. So we just kind of like stop celebrating for a second. They're gone. And then we celebrate, move and holler some more. We don't want to rub salt. Yeah, they're gone. Oh, here comes a couple more. Not doing anything for it. They're gone. Yeah, we start celebrating again. But, you know, maybe it's our own demise that we didn't celebrate and rub it in their noses as they walk by. But no, that's the story I remember.
Huh, that's interesting. Did you get a chance to play against Gordie Howe when he came back for that last year? I'm guessing he had some snarl still, huh?
We did, and he was still Gordie, which was really good. And he got into tug of war with Dwayne Sutter, because Dwayne Sutter, Gordie will go around and whack your stick, you know, to see if it was. And he whacked Dwayne Sutter's stick out of his hands. So Dwayne grabbed Gordie's stick and tried to pull it out of his hands. And they were in a tug of war by our bench. And the referee, let go of his stick. He knocked my stick, but I'm going to give you a 2-minute penalty for hold. It was just so funny. And Gordie's like, no, cool. Call him his cucumber. You know, just Gordie, you know, like just so in control, like so smooth. Just snapping pucks around, looking not out of place. Here's a 50-year-old guy who has all the respect in the world of everybody out there. Not just because he's Gordie, because the guy can play, and the guy can still perform, and the guy's out there doing things that, you know, you saw him do as when you were a kid, and here he is playing against, you know, Mr. Hockey. Wow, beyond belief.
Jean Beliveau was the other guy you grew up idolizing. You must have been watching him on TV nonstop because that was some of the only games that were being played, right?
Well, yeah, we get Hockey Night in Canada, we get Toronto or Montreal on TV. And so we got a lot of Montreal, and we saw Montreal raise a lot of Stanley Cups. And I can remember when Jean Beliveau was so smooth. Like, he was like Mario Lemieux, like before there was Mario, like the big, tall, graceful, just smooth stick handler. Nobody like him at the time. And, he gets to raise the Stanley Cup for Montreal every year. And I remember turning to Dad, I was like 8 years old, I said, I want to raise the cup over my head like Jean Beliveau. And Dad says, well, you better start practicing. But, or get your homework done, or will you take your skates away? And I always make sure my homework was done. But I think those kinds of players, those Jean Belivaux's and Gordie Howe's and the Bobby Orrs, they inspire young hockey players. And now you got the Crosbys, the McDavids, and the Canes that are doing the same things. And they're just good ambassadors for the game. And, we all want to stay good ambassadors. What you guys do here with the podcast, I think is ambassadorship, because you're able to like share experiences, share stories, and the great stories and unique individuals that have played the game. So it's fun being on the show with you guys. Thanks.
No, it's awesome. It's so true that you get to hear so many stories that without podcasts and the way that media's changed, that you just never would even get to hear. So I think it's great talking to you and hearing all these old time like memories, because for people my age, like I knew about your dynasty, but right, I wasn't old enough. I wasn't, into the game yet. So I didn't know much about the team. You start looking into numbers. It's like, I didn't know anything about John Tonelli. I was like, holy shit, this guy was unbelievable.
Oh, Johnny T. Yeah, Johnny was the Tasmanian devil, like elbows, stick, everything's going in the corner. He come out with the puck and ding to the front of the net and jamming things. And we love Johnny T, and he's just great. But, every one of the guys on the Stanley Cup team, like each guy is special for a whole bunch of reasons. And, Wayne Merrick, we called him Bone Man because there was no meat on his bones. He was just like pure bone, but strong like orangutan, just like one arm guys off, and one shoot the puck with a wrist shot with one hand. Like, people didn't know his strength and his speed, and he was like a river skater. He could just skate all day. We do line rushes or ladders at the end, and Bone Man would just be like skating, like not even breathing hard. And the rest of us are like, what is with this guy? Like, because he's lean. He's so lean, and he's just like such a smooth skater. But big performer, like they find ways to contribute and play big games. And, you can go up and down the list, and guys that probably didn't get a lot of headlines, but we don't win without those guys. That's the part of the game that people don't understand. Like, yeah, Trottier or Bossy or Potvin, they get a few headlines, but man, the appreciation factor of having, the guys that don't get the headlines, like that, they are special people. And I'm glad you bring up names like John Tonelli and my buddies like Dwayne Sutter, and because they would play big games for us in Stanley Cup finals and throughout.
I want to mention the 1984 Canada Cup where you played for the United States. A few years before that, you actually played for Canada, and they really let you have it during those games, huh?
Yeah, and you know what? It's all good because, like, I think I always say you can't make people understand because there's just this wonderful thing called the media that just won't let things die. But the people that do understand, like they understand the fact that, I have dual citizenship. I can work on both sides of the border. I'm North American Indian, and people look at me sometimes. They're like, "So what?" And I said, "Well, I just want to give back to the States. I have kids that are born down here, and I make my living down here. I'm probably going to retire down here. It's okay. Like, it's not the end of the world. Plus, it's for the pension. It's not like it's not like where I'm playing to beat anybody up. But there's a pride involved, and there's a national pride, and you think you're doing it for the right reasons, and then all of a sudden it comes back to bite you a little bit. And I said, I got to take it on the chin, play your heart out, play the game you love, and let the chips fall where they will. And it ended up Canada won anyway. They got Peter Stastny on the team. They had a couple of Stastnys play for him on the team. So I'm saying what goes around comes around, and nobody said to Peter that he was a traitor, that he was not playing for his Slovakian team anymore. And I was like, well, it doesn't matter. It's kind of a backhanded compliment, because if I was like a low life hockey player and I went and played for the U.S., they wouldn't care. But, the fact that I was maybe, one of the Stanley Cup, champion. I'm going to play for the U.S. team. They're a little bit mad at me. So you take it on the chin and you move on. And somewhere I think Canada's forgiven me.
I was just saying, it's like a jealous ex. Like they ran out and get a couple of Slovaks that all of a sudden Canadian. So they basically were flipping it on its head as well.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Like I think the media has they take their swipe at it, and a few fans take their swipe at it, and then when Canada won the Canada Cup, I was like, okay. You guys forgive me yet? No, it's still not mad. We're still mad at you, but we're sure happy Canada won. See, you should have stayed with us. I said, you know what? It's all for a pension. We're trying to raise money for a pension. So, all good.
So as if the 4 cups with the Islanders weren't enough, you end up going over to Pittsburgh and you compared the Beliveau comparison to Mario. Like, how did that all go down? The off season end up signing there. That must have been a crazy ride.
Well, it was a little bit ugly in New York because I had 2 years left on that contract. They bought me out, which is kind of a kick in the butt. After 15 years, you kind of, you lose that identity and you don't feel appreciated. But, Craig Patrick was great. Bob Johnson, the coach, you come here, you feel appreciated all over again. The city made me feel like I had a little something left. And the players here were excited to see me. So I think when you get traded, it's devastating, or when you move teams, it's devastating. And I signed on as a free agent and I was, you're a little concerned. Well, how's it going to be? And it couldn't have been better. I mean, in a sense, you feel vindicated, not because, I'm riding the shirt tails of this team. I'm not the engine of the locomotive. I'm like the caboose, keeping everybody on the tracks. But it was really kind of neat to be able to come to Pittsburgh, win a champion back-to-back, and then feel like, man, I did have a little something left. And, man, I did accomplish what I wanted to do. And I signed a 1-year deal, came to win the Stanley Cup. It was really fun because Craig Patrick was like, okay, we're going to give you these bonuses for plus player, plus this. And I'm like, well, that's good, Craig. But I said, I really want one bonus. What's that? I said, win the Stanley Cup. And just come in there to win the Stanley Cup with Mario, and that's it. He goes, well, we're giving you a bonus for the Stanley Cup, $10,000 bonus. I said, well, that's nice. But I said, I want a big bonus. I want that big bonus. Well, what do you want? I said, I want the same thing as Mario. He's like, I can't do that. I said, well, give me half then. So he wrote 50% of Mario's Lemieux's bonus for winning Stanley Cup. And then you forget about it. It's in the contract, eh? And all of a sudden I get like a $250,000 signed bonus in June. Came out. I'm like, what's this for? He goes, well, you got 50% of Mario's Stanley Cup.
Goodness, that's nice.
I'm like, thank you, Mario.
Well, I mean, I got to bring up, I must have watched 5,000 times the clip of you and Artie Stevens, Kevin Stevens, just giving it to Brian Bellows. Like when that first hit the internet and you started realizing people saw that, what was your reaction? And it's amazing shit talk. I mean, we used it in the Sandbagger recently.
What's comical is I go to schools and I talk to the kids and, tell them make healthy choices, and stay in school, continue your education. And then some little kids will say, oh, I saw you and Steven giving it to Bellows. And I'm like, that was computer generated. If you read my lips, actually what I'm saying is, and the kids kind of buy it a little bit. But you always have to be careful, what you're going to, you don't know where that mic's going to be. And so I don't know how they caught that, but that wasn't one of my proudest moments. Even my mom was like, is that really you saying? I said, I don't think so, Mom. I think it's computer generated. So the kids and my mom thinks it's computer generated, but, we all know it a little bit better.
I don't know. That's how it was. I mean, there was the Stanley Cup's on the line. It's a nasty sport out there. It doesn't mean you didn't like the guy off the ice.
Well,
Brian Bellows and I, we've done a few events together, and it's just water under the bridge, no big deal. Like his buddies are like, hey, they're a little bit jealous of me. I'm like, okay, good, or whatever. Some of the names that get called, we all get called names, and not a big deal. And I think that moment where you're like trying to get in someone's grill or get them off their game or unfocused or whatever. I remember Rick Taka was screaming at Brian Marchman one time. That dreaded face-off by the bench when you're the defenseman by the bench, you're the opposition's bench, or you're that winger that's by the bench, and they just start ripping on you.
Getting water squirted on you.
Oh, yeah, I know, and it's just so bad. And Talk was like, Marchment, you touch any one of our players, I'm going to hunt you down this summer. I know where you live. And I'm like, after the game, I'm like, Talk, do you really know where he lives? Like, he goes, nah, I was just trying to like get him off. I was like, holy cow. I believed you. I was like, holy cow. But no, there's that moment that's gets intense out there. You're right, Ryan.
Yeah, well, you could just tell the young kids it's a deep fake. That they'll buy it this day and age. But were you generally a chirper on the bench or on the ice?
No, Kevin started that whole thing. He goes, give it to him, Trotz. And I'm like, give it to him. What? I'm just an innocent bystander next thing you know. But it's, I got revved up. Got caught up in the moment.
Oh, man.
Now, when you get in the locker room like that, you're an older guy toward the end of your career, but you got two superstars in Mario and Jagr. Like, do you play like a de facto captain role? Do you kind of like mind your business for a bit? How does that work out when you have such a super player in the locker room like that, or two of them?
Well, it's so good because like if there's a more gracious person in the world than Mario, I've yet to meet him, but Mario's respect and like he was good. Like I found a way early, like with Mario, and we had crisscrossed paths a couple of times before, and there's always kind of a polite nod and that kind of stuff. And on the ice, it was always kind of a polite thing. Like I never hit Mario. I think I bumped him once, and vice versa. Like Mario's a purist. He's one of the players, you play hockey and that's just the way he plays. And he has that respect. And, but when I went to Pittsburgh, I told Mario, I said, Mario, you got big man presence, and he's a really quiet guy. And, I said, you got to say something just before the game, stand up and go, let's go boys, and just see what the room does. So he looked at me, winks, and he stands up, let's go boys. And, the room just electrified. And, so I think that was kind of our immediate bond. And I kind of explained to him why I came to Pittsburgh, because I wanted to win a cup with him. I think you're that close. And then we win. So like with Mario and young Jagr was my roommate, and he's just an 18-year-old kid. He called me Big Bryan, which was hilarious. Like he's 6'4", I'm like 5'11", and he's this monster with big hair. And hey, Big Bryan, where we go by breakfast? And I'm like, okay, young Yarmer, here we go. Let's see, follow me. But he was just kind of I was a little bit like his mentor until we got Yuri Hrdina, and then Yuri kind of took over because he could speak the same language. But Yarmer's English wasn't that good, and my Czechoslovakian was horrible. But, we communicated just because we played together, and, he kind of had a general respect. But Ron Francis came, and, we had a whole bunch of leadership in that room, and it was really kind of wonderful. And it didn't fall on one person. It fell on a group. And I think that's what happens in a locker room. You guys know that. If it's one guy wears the C, it's not just one guy. Like there's a whole bunch of leaders in that locker room, whether you wear a letter or not. You're all trying to accomplish the same thing. So smart talk, smart leaders know how to go either inspire by performance, inspire by just saying the right thing at the right time, and that's what it's all about. And that's what made it special in Pittsburgh and New York, because there was a whole bunch of leadership in the locker rooms.
Little different than having Bossy as a roommate when you come back and Jagr's got a strip poker party going on in the locker room.
Oh my God, he was hilarious because he learned all his English from MTV. So like I'd walk in the room, he'd have MTV blasting, and it's so comical because like when he'd do an interview the next day, they say something to Yarmer like, Yarmer, how do you like Pittsburgh? He goes, I like cherry pie. I think it was Motley Crue or Warrant or somebody. It was the music at the time. I like cherry pie. I'm like, he's so comical.
Were you trying to get him to cut his salad when you were with him?
Oh, everything he said didn't matter where it had a line from a song. Like it was just so he memorized all the lines from the song, and he'd be walking through the locker room and trying to speak English. And he was just basically singing a line from a song, and but he was. No, he didn't need any help when it come to, but he loved sugar. You know that movie Elf? Like when he like, do you like sugar? He's putting syrup and sugar and everything on his pasta, drinking straight Coca-Cola. That was Yarmer. Like he had these sugar buns. His mom made him sugar buns. It was like eating sugar. Like I had one bite and I was wired for the whole game. He'd eat 6 of these things before a game. And I said, no wonder this kid's like high performance. He's like on high test sugar. But no, he's a great kid. Love him when he's 18. I still love the kid. What is he now? 55 or whatever?
Still playing, man. He's still getting it done in check.
What an athlete. Yeah, he's a great kid.
He's like the Euro version of Hal, just
Gordie
getting it done
Howe.
at all ages, man.
Yeah, just loves the game.
Did people not talk to Tom Barrasso on game days when he was playing, or any day for that matter?
We didn't talk to Billy Smith on game days because Billy Smith was in the zone, and you didn't bother him. You didn't even eyeball him on game day. Tommy was. I sat next to Tommy in the locker room in Pittsburgh, and I got along great with Tommy. And you can misread Tommy, and Tommy can kind of put you off if he wants to. He can kind of send you off thinking, I don't like you. But Tommy's an intense person, let alone hockey player, but he's a goaltender. What do we say about goaltenders?
Weirdos.
A bunch of wackos.
They're special. But Tommy's a great guy. Again, good dad. I loved him as a teammate. And he's just one of those guys, big hearts. Every Christmas he comes in, he's got a bottle of this for you, a big bottle of wine for you, a bottle of bourbon for the coach. And Tommy's just a great, generous guy. But he can be misread every once in a while.
You were there for that celebration. I think it might even been at Mario's house when the cup ended up at the bottom of the pool.
Oh my God. That started at the Point Park. We started at the Point Park at celebration, and it would, 100,000 people down at Point Park. They probably fit 10,000 people. And we had a big celebration down there. And then I don't get home for 3 days, and I'm under every bridge with Phil Bourque, and, we're rafting on all these boats and going to another party, and I'm seeing another sunrise. And I'm like, I'm going to be yelled at when I get home. Anyway, we end up at Mario's place later that one day, and he go, okay, we're going to Mario's now, and there's the cup, and there's Phil Bourque at the top of Mario's waterfall. It's like a 20-foot fall. He goes, I want to jump Lord Stanley with the pool, Mario's, and we're talking him off because he's going to die, basically. He comes down, and then everybody in the pool, and then we all jump in the pool, clothes, whatever we have on, and ladies, and everybody's in the pool. We all pull ourselves out of the pool after the picture or whatever, and we're in there for quite a while, and no cup. It's at the bottom of Mario's pool. We had to go dive in, and Troy Loney and I dive in and get that pool. We're pulling it up. It was very tarnished the next day. It had a little bit of chlorine tarnish on it. But if that thing could talk, and some of the stories that it could, I'm sure, but that's one of them at the bottom of Mario's pool. From the top of the waterfall of Phil Bourque to the bottom of Mario's pool, that thing had a wonderful night of celebration.
So was that cup experience in Pittsburgh far crazier than on Long Island? Because there was a crazy story about the airport scene when you guys arrived back in town, right?
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, there's 40,000 people at the airport. And again, the airport was a tiny little airport. And, but this city was so hungry for a championship in hockey, and they had all these championships in baseball in the 70s, obviously, and then football in the 80s with the Steelers. And so this city knows how to celebrate. And we thought we celebrated, and we did on Long Island. We took the cup everywhere, at every beach bar, every local tavern that we knew on Long Island, and we celebrated hard. But this crazy town of Pittsburgh, I mean, they really celebrate to the nth. But that the Point Park, the airports, both times were really unique. And then we had the second celebration at Three Rivers Stadium, and there was a rain delay. Go figure, rain delay for championship celebration. It's drizzling rain, and Craig Pachter comes up and he goes, "Hey, grab the cup, run around, just get the fans a little frenzied here." And so I grabbed like 4 or 5 guys like Jay Caulfield and Troy Loney and Bobby and Phil, like, come on, let's go. We'll just pass the cup back and forth to each other. We'll run around the infield here in the ball diamond and have a little fun and get the crowd going crazy. And I run off the stage with the Stanley Cup. I look back and they're going, "You're on your own, kid." I'm like, "You bastards." And so like I'm looking at, and they have the tarp down, and I said, "I wonder if I can slide." I see rain delay, the guy slide. So I grab the cup and I slide. I go about 4 feet. I'm like, I can do better than that. So I race, and the crowd's going nuts. And I race, and I get like about an 8-10 foot slide, and I'm trying to gently hold the Stanley Cup so it doesn't break. It's got that little tone of chlorine tarnish on it, but I'm like, hold on to it really nice and gently. And so I got to slide at Three River Stadium with it, and it's still talked about. So yeah, celebrating. I was older then, but I still had that youthful enthusiasm. I wanted to celebrate so much, and to be able to like have those 4 cups on Long Island, then that's 7-8 years in between, and have back-to-back Stanley Cups here in Pittsburgh with the city that really knows how to celebrate championships. It was very, very fun.
Brian, one of those years when you won in with the Islanders, did a cleaner lady take it home some night and put a plant in it, or is that just hockey law? Like you guys had a photo shoot and somebody forgot the cup, and supposedly a cleaner lady took it home.
Go figure. That I don't remember that story,
okay.
But there's lots of stories where that cup got forgotten, and everybody think, oh, he's got it. But what we didn't have was a day with the cup. So what we did on Long Island, the second, third, and fourth cups, not the first one, but the second, third, and fourth cups is like as a group, we decided we're going to have a little time with our families with the cup. Because I got to do it the first year by myself, and I think a couple other guys did too. And I think what we wanted to do is have that half a day or a few hours with the cup so we could have it for ourselves. And then we wouldn't tell the Hall of Fame, the keeper of the cup, where Phil Pritchard, where the cup was. He'd go, hey, Brian, where's the cup? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Tonelli had it, I think. I'm not sure. And we wouldn't tell on each other. And then it'd be chasing it for like 2 or 3 days because it had to get back to Toronto for the awards banquet that was shortly after the Stanley Cup. So, and we'd have it for 2 or 3 days more than what they really wanted to have it on Long Island. So we'd have the parade, then it would disappear for 2 or 3 days. So everybody could have like a half a day or a couple hours with it with their families.
One other vet from the Pittsburgh squad I want to ask about, Joey Mullen. He's another guy I think is probably a little unheralded. Certainly one of the great U.S. hockey players of all time. You were, basically the same age on the same team. What was that experience like with Joey?
Young Joe at Hell's Kitchen, great hands. Like just another one of those guys that just finds a way to snipe goals, but underrated on a lot of things. Very, very soft hands when it comes to like just making the right pass, making the right play. There's just no. He's always composed. Like he's got poise. He doesn't get caught up in all the hype. He's just Mr. Cool. And he and Wendell Young were in charge of the hospitality suite at the end of every game on the road. So we go to Joey Mullen and Wendell Young's room, and everybody gave him $20. They load up the bathtub with beer and ice, and everybody had to stop.
Team guy. That's team guy.
Yeah, that's Joey Mullen, and Joey would be last man standing. Like he had 2 hollow legs. That guy. I don't know where he put all the beer, but he was like last man standing, not a stagger. Okay, boys, good night. He was
what a guy.
Unbelievable, great guy.
Hey,
great
so he coached me for a little bit in Wilkes-Barre, and
I had him in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. That's right. And he came up to me one time. He's like, you're like too wound up before games. Like just like sit in your stall, because he used to just sit back in his stall and just like sit there till game time, right?
Oh my God, yeah. You just couldn't get him hyper. Like you couldn't get him excited. Most of you like, yeah, let's go, boys. And then you kind of go back to sleep. They called him Smo because he's just like so like low key and but always ready. Like didn't matter like who he's going to play with. He'd play right wing, left wing. Didn't matter who center iceman was. He'd contribute. He'd find a way to contribute, kill penalties. Like smart player. Like you're just a very, very intelligent hockey player and a good coach too. Everybody that like yourself that had him as a coach loved him because he just always like ready to mentor, ready to give you a little advice, and just one of those guys that did a lot of things really well.
Before I forget to ask you, so you got something new coming out, these NFTs, and I want you to dive into them a little bit. We talked about a lot of these amazing memories, and now you can kind of capture them on NFTs, which is
I'm learning all about this stuff too, but they're those the newest rave in digital cards that you can get. And when I was approached, I thought it was kind of fun because anything that has the word fun attached to it, I'm in. So these NFTs are collectible commemoratives, I believe. And you can, I'm coming out with a couple of my iconic moments, so to speak. So in my career, I think, they're digitally, signed and numbered, which really makes them unique in that regard. And I think if you go to bryantrottier.com, I think you can get a good taste of what my collection is going to look like. There's going to be 3 different moments. There's an 8-point game that happened back in mid-'80s. I think it was a Ranger game in the Garden. So that was kind of 6 points in one period. I think still a record. And there's some original audio and some real life experiences that'll happen if you bid on them. If you win the bidding, I think we'll end up having but there's only one of these cards. So that's going to be kind of unique and special about that 8-point game. There's only one of those cards. So we'll see. Then there's the second one is I think they call it the first cup win. There's going to be 5 of those cards, 5 digital cards there. So if you bid on that, win it, you had an experience with me as well, as long as winning one of the cards. And then there's going to be the 4 in a row with the Islanders. There's going to be 100 of those cards available. So again, they're digitally signed, digitally audio. So I think they're special, and I think they're unique in that I hear more football players are coming out with some. And I think the Kachuk boys came out with one early, and I think they're going to be the new rave. And I'm excited about it. And so yeah, go bid. Let's have some fun.
Get
BryanTrottier.com, right?
Yeah.
BryanTrottier.com.
That's pretty easy. Even I can't fuck that one up.
Got to get that bellows clip up there. The
Password tit fucker. Hey, Brian, thank you so
Where
much.
does that stuff come from?
Hey, get the bellows clip up there, and I bet you that NFT would skyrocket, buddy. You would.
No shit.
Hey, there you go.
Then I have to cut Brian in on that. I have to cut my buddy Brian Bellows in on
And Artie.
yeah.
And Artie.
All right. Hey, well, congratulations on, what a career. And you also won a Stanley Cup as an assistant coach in Colorado. I mean, it's an honor to have you come on the show, and we really appreciate it.
Pleasure, guys. Always a pleasure. Hey, continued successes, guys. New Amsterdam vodka.
We'll get you a shipment out, and we'll have to get you on again live, hopefully, and we'll talk more about you as an assistant coach and winning that 7th cup. Not a big deal.
Yeah, but is it Paul Bissonnette or Paul missed the net?
Time for hardest shot.
Time for hardest shot. Sorry.
Hey, if you've seen our acting, we need you in the next commercial, man.
Oh my God.
Especially for target practice.
I'll bring my music.
Bring Tiger Williams too.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank
It's been
you
an
very
honor.
much.
Pleasure, Ryan. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Brian.
Take care. Huge thanks to Bryan Trottier for joining us. Just an absolute honor and a pleasure to have a guy his caliber on. I mean, 6 Stanley Cups as a player. Can't say much more than that. One more as a coach, and some great stories. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We certainly enjoyed doing it. Listen, gang, if you got a student loan out there, say goodbye to stressful student loan payments and take charge of your future with Earnest. Earnest offers low-rate student loan refinancing, and you can check your rate risk-free in just 2 minutes. With Earnest, you get radically flexible payments, and you can pick your loan term. By refinancing, you can reduce your loan term, save money, or combine multiple loans into a simply monthly payment. And if you have questions, you can even talk to a real-life human at Earnest for help. Isn't it time you stop feeling overwhelmed by your student debt? Now, Earnest is giving our listeners a $100 bonus. Refinance your student loans at earnest.com/chiclets. Not available in all states. Terms and conditions do apply. Visit earnest.com/chiclets for more details. Terms and conditions will apply. Earnest student loan refinancing made by Earnest Operations, LLC, NMLS number 1204917, California financing law license number 6054788, 303 2nd Street, Suite 410N, San Francisco, California, 94107. Visit earnest.com/licenses for a full list of licenses. All right, gang, moving right along here, Whit. How about those Rangers, Whit? You think they're going to sneak in the playoffs or what? I know you had a chime in you wanted.
We have to shout out the Rangers. I do not think they're going to sneak in the playoffs. I think Boston's kind of turned a little bit of a corner, and yes, they lost Sunday to the Penguins, but it was a great game. I don't think they catch Boston. They are 4 points back, and I think have 2 less games. So I still need to shout out the run they've been on since St. Patrick's Day. The player who leads the league in assists is Adam Fox, who's a defenseman. We'll get to him in a minute. The player who leads the league in goals is Mika Zibanejad. And am I correct in saying the player who leads the league in points is Artemi Panarin?
Connor, isn't it?
What?
Yes, Artemi Panarin has 38 points since March 13th.
Oh, I'm sorry.
38 points. So if Zibanejad starts the year a little better, and there were some questions as to what was going on, I don't really know. He wasn't playing his best. He wasn't playing the way he has since the Philly explosion. And Panarin didn't have to take the time away for the issues back home, which was so much like bigger than hockey, right? I'm just saying if they had him all year. who knows what you're looking at with the Rangers, because they had a tough stretch, and this is what they did 2 years ago before COVID, in which they caught fire late. I can't believe, looking at that team, that in the next few years they're not going to be competing for a Stanley Cup. And that's as you see Lafreniere look even more comfortable in his splits the last 20 games. I don't have the numbers, but they're way different than his start. And Kaapo Kakko, I know fans aren't happy with him. It's early. I'm not going to say I'd be thrilled either if I was a Rangers fan and he's the second overall pick and the guy that, you were kind of counting on is to maybe come in and dominate right away. Unfair or not, I don't think he showed exactly what you hope for, but still, he's young. That's what I'm saying. And then Adam Fox on D. And that's where I get into watching this guy and hearing Brian Leetch talk about him. You're looking at like an actual great defenseman already in the National Hockey League. He's taken over D'Angelo's role in the number one power play. He's taken over Trouba's role as the number one shutdown guy. He leads the league in points. He's playing 24 minutes a game for defensemen, and he's right at a point per game. The only player with a higher average in points per game on D is Makar, and he hasn't played as many games. So Adam Fox, people saying, is he going to be up for the Norris? He should win the fucking Norris. This guy, watch him play. And I had this sent to me.
He's one of the 15 guys I had on my list.
You had the deep list. You don't want to piss anyone off.
I got a huge fucking list, man.
Somebody sent me this video. It's YouTube.
You're on it, Whit.
Stride Envy Hockey. Adam Fox, The Habits. Watch this. It talks about what makes him such a great player, like his feel for time and space. He's not overly physical, but what a player they have in this guy. So I think this year is a little bit too early, but I could not be happier if I was a diehard Rangers fan as to where the future is headed.
Yeah, I'd be rock hard too.
Thank you. Thank you, Rangers fans, for listening to me. The Islanders still suck.
What a breakdown that was. Oh my God. I forget sometimes I'm like a host. I'm just like sitting here enjoying your rants, bro.
That guy's, watch Adam Fox. He's always like head faking everyone. Sick.
Dude, those Harvard guys, they get such an advantage too, where they can always play that, I might play for one more year and lose the rights situation. I mean, he got traded twice and ended up where he wanted. But hey, if you got the leverage, man.
He was probably negotiating his own deals because he's a fucking lawyer too. He's like
teams will fuck you anytime. So like you say, if you got the leverage and you can manipulate it, then by all means do it.
You got like a cut of the Rangers. This guy's like cutting the sickest dude, fucking Jeff Bezos over there.
Biz, we're going to get to your division next. Right now, the only three teams that have clinched a playoff spot officially are Vegas, Colorado, Minnesota. The number one seed still in doubt. Lots of games left. Colorado got 2 games in hand on Vegas, 4 points behind. The 3 California teams are all toast, but Arizona and St. Louis are battling for that 4th spot. How do you see it playing out, Biz?
Tonight is huge because I believe that St. Louis, and they've probably already kicked off their game at this time. And Grinelli, you can give me a scoring update, but don't tell me till I'm done talking, please.
Game hasn't started.
Coyotes, it hasn't started. Okay, they're playing San Jose tonight, and this is a must-win because this could put them 3 points up, depending on what happens in the St. Louis game. And if St. Louis loses, that burns one of their games they haven't played. Although they'll still have, I think, 3 games in hand. But given strength of schedule, if the Coyotes are up 3 points with St. Louis having 3 games in hand, I think it's a 50-50 race. So I'm happy with that. As far as the players are concerned, Darcy Kemper got his 20th career hat trick the other night. First one ever away from Gila at River Arena with the Coyotes. He's looking good. So they finally got him back and healthy.
Shutout, you mean, right?
Did I say shootout?
You said he got a hat trick.
Hat trick. I was like, well, that would have been the lead story.
No, he actually did. He scored all 3 goals and got a shutout.
But it was in Arizona, so no one saw it.
Oh, fuck off! All right.
Sorry,
Excuse me. That's what happens when I get talking about my Coyotes. I get excited. He had his 20th career shutout, and he's back. He's healthy. That's huge for the Coyotes. They finally got their ace back. On the back end, Chikrin, we have to talk about him. He now still, once again, has taken over as the league leader on for defensemen scoring goals. This guy has been lights out. And as far as his offensive production, the reason I say that, being a biased Arizona fan, I would say that his name should be in consideration or at least get some votes, is because Arizona, I think, goals for on the season. They're 21th in the NHL. Every other guy you're talking about in the conversation, his team is far superior offensively. And he's still having to go against the big boys every night to shut them down defensively. He's putting up this insane offense based on the percentage how the rest of the team's able to produce it. And he's been an absolute fucking rock star on the back end. So and I've been kind of hesitant to say anything because, you know, I don't want to fucking jinx it either, but he's still putting the puck in the back of the net. And why are you giggling, Ari?
It's not just me. It's not just
Am I getting too excited about the fucking Coyotes?
You said 21th instead of 21st. I was trying not to laugh. I was putting the beer in my face so you wouldn't.
That's a lot of numbers, though. That's a lot. You look at Adam Fox. I think New York's in the top 6 as far as goals for. You get like Shea Theodore might be another name. The Hedman. Name all those teams. Their fucking teams are pumping out goals left and right. This guy has been getting it done on a team that's not able to fucking put the puck in the back of the net. I think he deserves some fucking votes. Respect on the name, dog.
He'll get some votes.
Yeah, for sure. And then moving up front, I mean, Kessel's still getting it done. He's fucking playing well at an older age. I mean, they've had an awesome bounce back year from him. So go fucking Coyotes. As far as the rest of the West, I'll hand it over to Whit. 21th.
Can we get
21th in the league? Whit.
21th in the league, guys. Can we get Kessel for a sandbagger, please? Can you get on that? You're living near him. Just start getting
play
in people's ears.
$50,000 a hole because I heard he's an absolute degenerate.
We'll do it. I love it. I love him. You're not going to make the playoffs because you don't have what St. Louis has, and that is Ryan O'Reilly. Saturday afternoon, I had nothing to do because I can't play golf because of my elbow. And I watched that game, St. Louis, Colorado. He had 3 goals. That's a hat trick. An assist, 4 points, and played 24 minutes, and they had an enormous win over the best team in the league. So looking at Arizona, they don't have that player. And I think that's not to say in the future, in the next few years, they won't keep getting better and better. But even if they get in, like I told you at the beginning, it's going to be the most embarrassing, lopsided first round. So wouldn't you rather than maybe get a little bit higher of a draft pick?
No.
All right, buddy. Then
I want a Colorado upset.
You're somebody who would say 21st.
I'll say this: if so, they're in a battle right now for first place. Colorado and Vegas, like they're hammering it out. They match up way better against Vegas. Do I think Vegas is an absolute juggernaut? Yes. Do I like the way we've matched up against Colorado in the last 15 games? No. It's been very lopsided. But you just never know. And I'd like to see some playoff hockey, and I think it helps the young guys learn how to win. And no, the draft pick thing has not been working out. Like we can't drop low.
I don't even think you have one this year.
We don't even have one. Exactly. Thank you.
Thanks, Chaika.
All right, this is actually a pretty big story in the last week regarding Robin Leonard and the Vegas Golden Knights. Well, more so Robin Leonard in the league. This is from Jesse Granger in The Athletic. Robin Leonard said the players were told that protocols would be relaxed once players were vaccinated, but the league didn't follow through. Bill Daly, the vice president of the league, he basically said that no such promises were made regarding relaxed protocols. It kind of had a he said. Lehner also spoke about the mental health aspect, and he said being lied to about things, again, these are his words, being lied to about things changing to kind of force us to take the vaccine is unacceptable. And now that we've taken the vaccine, to say, we aren't changing because of the competitive advantage is outrageous. One unnamed prominent agent said players are not having fun playing the game. They're surviving. Lehner also said, I'm not trying to start anything bad for the league. I'm an NHL player. I play in this league. I love this league. I want this league to be the best league in the world. You know, he's spoken about his own personal mental issues and the mental health issues in the past, as well as everybody else. And I think, everybody's been going through this quarantine. And these guys, they're only going from their house to the rink. There are still very strict protocols in place for a lot of these players that you don't have to abide by, or me, or another just regular citizens. So you can certainly understand the frustration that Lehner has, right, Whit?
Yeah, for sure. And right off the bat, this is something, no matter your opinion on it, you're going to piss somebody off. So I really don't give a shit in saying what I truly feel. And I completely understand where he's coming from. I have all the respect in the world for him. One, because of how open he's been with his mental health struggles and what he's gone through. And two, because he's played around long enough to really prove a point to everyone. I don't think he's making this up. Now, Bill Daly, I have no idea. I don't know the truth because I wasn't involved, but it seems insane to me that he would be saying that they were told these things and that they weren't. So taking his word for it, I'm going to look at it and say, why can't these restrictions be loosened? Okay. If these guys are vaccinated, right? Why are they not allowed to live their life a little bit and take away that they're NHL players and they're millionaires? How about the people who need to start living their life a little bit, who are just regular citizens or kids? It's like, it's been over a year and this has been a grind and a battle and an awful thing for many people. But now you have to start thinking of people's mental health and minds and getting back to life. If you're indoors, wear a mask 100%. I'm outside. I'm not wearing a mask. I don't judge you if you are. Don't judge me if I'm not. It's my decision. But my point is, these guys are being stuck at home and stuck on the road and not even able to be in the room with their teammates, and they're in the locker room with them all day. Nothing makes sense. So if they're vaccinated, why can they not start living their life, going out to dinner on the road and enjoying themselves a little bit? What the fuck? Why did they have to take it if nothing changes once they did? And so you understand, like, nobody's going to cry for these millionaires. But when you talk about mental health and what people are going through right now, going back to life a little bit and being with your friends, especially if you're vaccinated, should not be an issue for these guys. And I feel bad for them. And I feel bad for a lot of people who just need to get back to living their life a little bit. They need to be around people. It's not healthy to be by yourself all the time.
Yeah.
So
And
I don't need to rant, but
yeah, and take the millionaire athlete out of the equation. Like, anyone who has to be in an environment where they're kind of like, you shuttle to the rink, you have to be there, do that job, you shuttle home, and you can't leave those two environments. I think that if you forced anyone to do that, it would drive them like a little bit crazy. At least in some, like, guys, if I was being forced to do that, to tell you that I wouldn't have already broken a rule right now, I wouldn't be confident telling you I wouldn't have already broken a rule by now. And if you want to judge me for it, judge me for it. I just, like, this is probably it kind of goes back to how hard the experiences was for the bubble it was. And a lot of these guys have also been through that, which was clearly a worse situation, but it's like, hey, they battled through it. They've had to do that. Now they're kind of been through this, and they're just expecting, hey, can we start living a little bit of our normal life back a little bit here? And that's all we're asking here. Can we have what can we get here?
All right. You and I think sometimes tend to, like, disagree on certain things, and I have no idea where you stand here, but can you tell me this? If people are vaccinated, right? Anyone who's vaccinated, why would you give a fuck if anyone else isn't? You're vaccinated. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either. And
I don't get it.
Yeah. If you are, then you should be able to, if you're not going to be any harm or danger to anybody else, you can still wear a mask and go out. But yeah, I don't get it.
And I don't know either if you've had the vaccination, if you can be a carrier and give it to someone. Is that maybe why, RA?
I think I have read stories, and again,
the point of the vaccine?
There's so much info that people have gotten the vaccine and then gotten COVID after. I don't know if there's a lag time from when it actually fully kicks in. I haven't gotten it. I'm not the most up to date on all the information. Frankly, I'm not to sound like an insensitive prick, but I'm fucking over it. I'm up to here, man, and I don't mean it's like an asshole, but it's like when people talk about it around me, I leave the room or I tune it out because I'm just fucking.
So we can drop it.
From it.
So exactly.
And
that's
we're
exactly
also not
right.
experts on it, and that's why we don't try to talk about it much on the show.
Yeah.
We're just saying this is like a mental health thing. Like,
exactly,
it's fucking with some people.
It's not just these NHL guys. Leonard speaks for a lot of people out in the world right now.
Exactly.
So I understand where he's coming from, and let's hope that the more fans are getting into the building. When I left the Bees game, they're at 12%. I was talking to a guy. An usher, and he mentioned they're going to be 25% soon. So that's all great signs. But I did feel for Robin Leonard if he's looking at this thing like enough's enough. So we can move on.
Yeah, and you add the physical aspect on top of the mental, man. And these guys, you can say, they're millionaires, but it's fucking not easy, dude. So they have our empathy. Minnesota, like I said, they clinched a spot, 7 straight wins. I know we've stroked Kaprizov off enough. 22 goals, 19 assists, 41 points in 47 games. What this kid has been doing is unbelievable. Minnesota also extended forward Ryan Hartman, 3-year deal worth $5.1 million, $1.7 million AAV. Biz, I know you mentioned
Parise,
right?
I got to see them play against the Coyotes. I think that they're the real deal. I love the way that they play. And when they get the lead, they lock it down. And just Parise, like, I know there was the bit of the rift there. We end up being a healthy scratch, but it's just evident from his play. He's buying into what the role he has now is. He's trying to finish every check. He's playing his absolute bag off. I've been looking at the game sheets even beyond. He's like around that like 10 to 12 minute range, which is, he's playing that bottom six role. But just the fact that they have like him buying in now, obviously, I think that they have a very, very mobile back end that's very underrated. Talbot has played out of his mind. And you talked about Kaprizov. I mean, somebody was making a joke because Robertson in Dallas has been creeping up in the scoring and playing pretty well. I think everybody realizes that it was Kaprizov was going to be the runaway winner anyway. But I think a few headlines came out, and then he's just been on this fucking tear. And one of the goals he scored was the one against LA, where he just came down between the legs. It looked like kind of like a backhand toe draggy kind of thingy. I don't even know how to describe it. Off his skate, and then buries the thing in highlight reel fashion. So this guy has been. You said earlier, Whit, he's changed their organization. Yeah,
he's so sick. And their goaltending. I mean, Talbot's been awesome when he's played, but then the other rookie, Capo, is it Kakkonen?
Kakkonen, yep.
That guy's like rookie of the year, possible numbers. I mean, he's not going to win it. I don't think he'll be a finalist, but yeah, the whole team's been switched around with two guys, first year in the league. Robertson, also, like, for people who are really bitching about Kaprizov's age, we talked about that last episode, I think, about how people say he's too old or he's played pro hockey too long to be able to win Rookie of the Year. Robertson is, like, also, I think, turning 23. He's not, he's not 18 or 19. It's a little different, but he's looked great, and he caught fire. But it was pretty great timing to see the argument for him to really be considered the winner, and then just the week to just take off and the Russian to do what he did. The goal, he's able to, like, it looks like he's going to stop or slow down. He does these change of direction so well, change of speed, because the D-man there had no chance on him, but he had perfect gap and everything. It's just a perfect move.
I was also going to say they're built big. They got that Greenway, who's a monster. Marcus Foligno, who I messaged him on, I think I mentioned this in the Murley interview. I messaged him on DM. We're going to get him on hopefully before playoffs, because that whole team's been on a roll, but definitely built for the postseason too, with how big they are up front.
And I know Whit mentioned Billy Guerin earlier, but he's obviously a huge part of this. He's come along. He didn't have any emotion to any of these guys, no connections to them. So he has no problem saying, hey, we love what we did here, but we're going to move on. He's kind of making his team in his own image. And like we've picked on Minnesota, Whit, for the last 5 years, but it's nice to actually compliment them and be able to put a game on and enjoy it these days.
I could see a first round upset. I mean,
yeah.
No wonder Colorado in Vegas are battling it out. That first seed is going to be very important. I know they're both wagons, but Minnesota is going to go down with a fight.
And also we should mention head coach Dean Everson as well. He's been pretty instrumental to what's going on there as well. One last note from that division. It was a pretty good scrap. Sons of some maniac players from the 80s and 90s. Claude Lemieux's son versus Dave Charlie Manson's son. You got a good look at that tilt, right, Biz?
Yeah, I was actually surprised how well Lemieux did against him. McManson's tough, and I thought Lemieux got the upper hand, and yeah, that's a fucking great bout. More of that, please. Lemieux definitely making his presence felt in his early stint with the LA Kings.
That was a legit knockdown. Manson's tough, and like Lemieux, that was a really
I saw
good
one
fight.
angle, so yeah, it looked like a pretty good knockdown to me. I don't want to piss Manson off though, because if he sees me, he'll punch me out.
All right, shifting over to the Central Division. Congrats once again to our boy KY. Keith Yandel is now the number 2 Ironman in NHL history. Also, Spencer Knight had his first NHL start. He got a W. You got a chance to see him play at all? I didn't get a chance to see his first game, Spencer Knight.
I didn't see the game, but huge prospect out of BC, and congrats to Yans. One more guy to go, and I think that that just shows what he's done. To get number 2 is a pretty cool picture with the puck with the logo on it. So keep it going. The Cats are for real. I mean, you kind of were waiting for them to slow down all year, and Huberdeau and Barkov, we always say they don't get talked about. They don't enough, and I just couldn't believe the way the teams played in the recent games since Ekblad went down. I thought that would be really what hurt them, and they played 7D a lot, which can be frustrating for the defensemen, but they're winning. They're continuing to put up points, and right now I think they're in second, right? They're ahead of Tampa. going into
They
tonight,
are
aren't
as of this moment. Yep. Couldn't updated Steve.
I really like the moves they made at the deadline too.
Yeah,
Like they did what they could without
and
giving
Bennett-
up a ton.
And Bennett is like, he's playoff Sam Bennett in Calgary, but all of a sudden in a different spot, playing bigger minutes. He's producing offensively right off the hop. And then once the playoff starts, that's even more his style. So you're right. That is a great move.
And when you take a look at the Central Division, too, you can't help but notice the top 5 teams are all Southern teams: Carolina, Florida, Tampa, Nashville, Dallas. So, I mean, it's beating an old drum that
Dallas will not go away.
Dallas is getting in,
They
man.
are not going away.
And realize right now, Dallas, Rupe Hintz can't even practice. He's playing so injured. And then the games start, and he's like the Tasmanian devil on the ice. He's sick. He's so fast.
Yeah, he is.
And so playing through injury, right? That's hard. And then also the other thing with Dallas that's odd is Sagan's been skating a little while. Everyone says he looks great in practice, but the team has told reporters, like, it's his choice right now. He says he's not ready. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe he doesn't feel ready still. Obviously he doesn't. He's not playing. But if they could ever get him back, they could go on another run when they get in the playoffs. Who knows?
Flood warnings in Dallas.
Yep. Dallas 2 points back in Nashville right now, but with 2 games in hand. So, I think some of these divisions are going to go down to the final wire. Congrats to Chicago Blackhawk, Andrew Shaw. He officially retired. He obviously had some concussion-related issues, hadn't played for a bit, but he made it official on Monday. He had, I think, 10 NHL seasons, 2 Stanley Cups. So congrats to Shaw. Fantastic career.
Yeah. And let me tell you, RA, sorry to hop in there, just didn't want to glance over Shawzy. Maybe the coolest picture is that guy raising the Stanley Cup. The fact that he had a cut on his cheek, stitches and blood dripping down as he raised the Stanley Cup could not personify, if that's the correct word, his career any better.
Yeah.
Because he was a dog out there. His first NHL game you saw, if you watched his Twitter video, his goodbye video, I don't know how he wasn't crying. I was nearly tearing up. His first NHL game, he fought his second shift. He fought Ronaldo, spirited bout, and then scored the next period on a nice goal, and then went on to win 2 Stanley Cups. So a guy who I think Blackhawks fans will forever remember as just the exact type of player you need to win a Stanley Cup. He hangs him up at a young age. It's a tough decision to make, right? But he's listening to the doctors and making the right one. So congrats to him.
Absolutely.
Columbus Blue Jackets, been rough sledding for them. 8 straight losses. Elvis Merzlikins, he got pretty honest in his post game, talking about how frustrating it is, and they're trying. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the game. I bet it. I forget what night it was, but it was versus Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay took a 2-1 lead, but right before the goal, Merzlikins got hit with a high stick, and Torts didn't challenge it. It was like, wait a minute, how do you not challenge it? And then they asked him in the post game, why didn't you challenge it? And he said he can't challenge that. And one of the other reporters like, well, can you elaborate? And he's like, no. And he walked away. Now, I think he didn't want to get himself in trouble bitching about the refs, but it was like, I didn't understand.
When you say earlier, like how earlier in the play before he got high stick before it went in the net?
Probably 2 seconds, because if you're watching real time, it does look like Merzlikins get set in position to make the save, but it's so quick. I think that, he could have possibly been overturned. And again, I only kid because I had money on the game. I'm being honest there. But Torts never really gave the explanation. Like he said, I can't challenge it. He could have just said, we didn't want to put him on the power play if we lose the game. But that's why I think he felt he was being baited by the reporter, who I don't think was baiting him.
Yeah, he's probably
walked away.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's why we didn't get our explanation.
Yeah, well, I still want my explanation for why he didn't challenge.
Okay, we're here. I'll give you Torts' number. You can text him.
It was clearly a high stick, man. No matter what, they didn't call it, but I think they would have taken it down. But either
I'll
way,
talk to Gary and we'll get you your money back. And
we'll get on it.
You give that guy a ring.
Venmo that shit over. One last note here in the division, Biz. I know you want to talk about the Detroit-Washington deal. Jagr had a 4-goal game. He's got 5 goals and an assist so far. Anthony Mantha, same amount of points, 4 goals, 2 assists in Washington. What was it you wanted to bring up in this trade, Biz?
Well, no, just when he had his 4-goal game there, I was just like, oof. Like, I mean, initially the reaction was people thought that Detroit had fleeced the deal, and the way that this guy's popping off right now. But, Mantha's holding his own. I'm just, why you laughing? Because Mantha's been doing good too.
Well, no, I honestly wasn't sure because when I wrote your notes down, I tallied up like, well, they do have the same amount of points. I mean, Mantha's been a pretty good force. He had, I think, goals in his first 4 games down in Washington. But yeah, but hey, you know what?
Well,
Detroit
that's
got that
one of your
draft pick,
opportunities to dunk on me. It's awesome. It's awesome.
I know you like fucking what's his face? I'm trying to think of someone who would set up somebody for dunks all the time from my era, but I can't right now.
An alley-oopsman like John Stockton?
Yeah, there you go. Boom, done. All right, gang, we're going to bring on our pal Matt Murley shortly. We're going to talk a little gambling with our old buddy. But first, if you're a business owner who's hiring, you probably face a lot of challenges when it comes to finding the right person for your role. Lack of applicants or experience, too many resumes to get through, not knowing how to reach the right people. That's why hiring can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you have to do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/chiclets. When you post a job on ZipRecruiter, it gets sent out to over 100 top job sites with one click. Then ZipRecruiter's matching technology finds people with the right skills and experience for your job and actively invites them to apply. In fact, ZipRecruiter is so effective that 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. It's no wonder over 2.3 million businesses have come to ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. So while other companies overwhelm you with too many options, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for, the needle in the haystack. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at this web address. It's ziprecruiter.com/chiclets. Once again, remember to go to this unique place, ziprecruiter.com/chiclets. That's CHICLETS. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now, Matt Murley. Well, this handsome guy is making his 3rd appearance on the show, joining a very select club, I might add. He played pro hockey all over the world for 17 seasons before retiring in 2019. These days, you can catch him giving out Euro picks and NHL winners on RA's Gambling Corner, in addition to some blogs he's been adding to Barstool Sports. It's a joy to welcome back to the Spittin Chiclets podcast, our pal Murls, Matt Murley. How's it going, buddy?
Going good. How you doing, fellas?
Murls. Great to talk to you. And for everyone that's wondering why I'm saying his name 3 different times there, this week we had a crazy week full of action. We were gambling all week, and we were doing great. But on Wednesday night, we had what will go down as both of the worst beats I think we've ever experienced with Nashville, Chicago.
Oh, my. I'm sitting there laughing at 4-1. Scoring chance. Then all of a sudden,
7-1. Should have been 7-1.
7-1. And we should have known right then we were in trouble.
No, I knew I was in trouble because I got the text. Why didn't I put 20 grand on this game?
Yeah.
This is the biggest slog. We got money line, puck line. I'm saying the same thing. I'm like, we are absolute losers. Because turns out, if you don't know what happened, Chicago scored 3 goals in 2 minutes and 10 seconds and then went on to win an OT, and we lost both bets. But still, it was a great week, and it's great to catch up with you, even though you are the true mush in the group.
Yeah, that was the first bad one in a long time, and I'm just happy that you were on it with me.
It's funny.
Friend.
He spent all this time in Europe, and he took 2 better things away from it than hockey: his wife and knowing how all these leagues work, so he could take advantage of on the gambling side. What is happening with this whole EBR crew? So you've become our full-on gambling guy overseas. RA and you collab on the North American side. What is going on right now?
Yeah, I don't even know. I sign on, let's just do some NHL picks. And then the one afternoon I was bored. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm going to put out one of these KHL picks. But they must have won 5 or 6-0. All of a sudden, everybody starts going crazy. Murls, give another one. So I do it the next day. And first few, you get lucky. Like, it's gambling. You're never going to win. But boom, that one wins. And they're just, and I was winning by large amounts. So people are just laughing at it. Like, holy cow.
Every game was a shit kicking, Murls.
Yeah.
It was 7-1 half of these games.
And to go back, as far as KHL is concerned, usually when certain home teams are going to win because they're going to get a few favorable calls, correct?
Correct. And in the KHL, you're looking at that kind of stuff. Like, the big clubs are always going to get the benefit of the doubt. Especially at the end of the season, I think we talked before about is that the smaller clubs will sell off their big players their best players to the big teams. So then they're even weaker. but the odds makers don't always catch up with it right away.
It's funny because the KHL is like, nobody knew a thing about it. The EBR crew comes along, and now I'm getting messages from people I haven't talked to in 10 years. Tell your buddy Murley I owe him a couple of beers. He's made me millions. I'm becoming rich. Thank you to Mur. I'm like, it's the EBR crew. Just make sure you include that little what is the thing called?
The money sign? Is it the money sign?
Money sign. That's what it ain't right without that.
Yeah, it's wild. And we started with it's like Everybody Rides was this legend coach, Jay Pagney. I used to train with him down at the Peltz's house in Westchester. And every time anything, like say we had to do a little skate or anything or go for a run, it was Everybody Rides. Like it's all together or nobody. And say you're at the casino and you're like Whitney, you're a guy that would put 500 on black. It's Everybody Rides. We better all get on it or like leave the table.
If
like,
you're the dickhead who puts 500 on red and you're in the friend crew, you're basically getting isolated for the rest of the trip.
I want nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, are you like Ace Rothstein on the phone with texting people over in Europe getting late scoops or what?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gotten older now. This could have been a lot easier a few years ago, but I still have a few buddies on some of these teams. So I catch some inside scoops from them and it's made me always keep track of some of these teams. But I think my biggest thing is I've played in every league because I'm a suitcase, but what kind of rinks are tough. Like if it's a home game, like which rinks are tougher for teams, which ones are, they don't have any home ice advantage. Like that place is so easy to play in. So that helps with the handicapping of it. And
what do you think what do you think the overall unit should be up or down, I guess, if you're taking that first game against Arbour after the teams are having to fly 13 hours across Russia to that team? They must win the first game a lot.
Yeah, well, they should, but they're such a weak team that, it's tough for them to win games. And a funny thing about KJ, I don't know if anyone's ever talked about it, is when a lot of those teams from Moscow will fly there and it's the 12-hour time change or whatever, they won't change their clock. They'll stay on Moscow time. So
really?
Yeah.
I never made that trip.
Yeah, they'll do crazy stuff like that where they'll stay on Moscow town. So the guys will be getting up at like 2 a.m. or say whatever in Arbour and having their pregame skate and their pregame meal, going for the nap, and like teams try everything to try to get away from that travel.
No way.
But,
did you ever experience that?
No, we always changed our clocks, the teams I was on. So
okay,
yeah, that's an interesting.
To go back a little bit, like a lot of this interaction is happening on Twitter and also Instagram through social media. So when you brought up the Everybody Rides, that's something that we hashtag and it gets tweeted out. I mean, for those of you who are on Twitter and social media, you've probably seen this already. And RA, I'll go to you. What do you make of Murls' North American picks? Do you guys often get in the kitchen and cook a little bit on the gambling side?
No, I think Murls is similar to me in that he likes to make his own picks. I mean, he might solicit some info overseas, but I think when it comes to the NHL, he likes to make his own. And because a lot of times I don't read his copy that he sends over until I make my pick. And sometimes we pick the same thing and other times we go opposite. So, if we're riding together, it's great. Then everybody jumps on board and it feels like we're on the caravan. But at the same time, I'm not going to switch my bet just because he's on the opposite. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I would never go the opposite side. But we were just talking about bad beats a second ago. We have to give props to Murls' old roommate, Sidney Crosby, who had the ultimate good victory the other day. He scored a 200-foot empty netter with 0.1 seconds left in the game. I mean, if you were laying Pittsburgh 1.5 that day, it was first Jersey, so you're probably laying $1.25. So you ain't even making shit on it. I mean, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and he fucking ices it from behind the goal line, dead on, right fucking middle of the net, 0.1 seconds, puck line cover. And I actually saw a tweet. I think it might have been Elliot Friedman. He's like, "Oh, that was a bad beat if you had New Jersey plus 1.5." I was like, "Who the fuck would bet New Jersey plus 1.5 in that game?" Taking the plus 1.5 is the worst bet in hockey.
All right, because it's usually like huge. You're laying big money, but Jersey was probably like getting money on plus 1.5 that game. It wouldn't have been that bad then. But let me say
still
this.
bet New Jersey versus Pittsburgh.
No, I know. But
and Pittsburgh's on a heater right now.
I don't call it a bad beat when I end up getting a push out of it. A bad beat is a loss, but I had the under at 5.5, and no. I had the under at 6. That's what it was. So I ended up. It wasn't a win, but it was a bad tie. I'll say that. But Murls, we also need to know about. We got the EBR crew with the money symbol. What is the Murley special or the Murley system? Because I'm kind of confused on this one.
Well, the Murley special was when I was with you guys in Philly a couple years back, and we hit that draw bet. I think all 5 of us crushed that. The draw bet.
Which is 300. Fucking crazy. You pulled that one right out of your ass.
That was insane. And what's really crazy is that when me and RA, when we were really doing the blog early on, I was hitting a ton of these Murley specials. The game I picked was Murley special, and I wasn't betting it, which was driving me nuts. I wasn't picking it out for the crew. But the Murley system is this system's, it's been going on for years and everything. Say I bet a team. I bet Pittsburgh. I bet them big. They lose that game, and I'm so mad. So all of a sudden in 2 days they play again. I'm like, no, I hate Pittsburgh. I'm done with them. They always win. The team always wins the next game. Like, that's how we won on Nashville. After that Nashville bad beat against Chicago, next game up, go right back to a Murley system, hammer Nashville, and they did what they crushed that game. We all hit that one, I think.
That's why I hate stepping up to a roulette game when like 10 black if it's straight and you're like, I'm the fucking guy, I'm gonna put it on black, and it's going back the other way.
Well, it's also just being in our own minds. Like it doesn't matter what's been happening, dude. It's the same odds it's gonna hit black or red. Yet we're like, oh my god, this coin was given to me by a stripper the other night, so this one's definitely lucky. Oh, this one down loss. So I think
is this the sound of one of your guys' prior trips to Vegas? Maybe
no, we stayed right at the tables. We were swimming around one. I think I told this. We were literally on the ground doing the breaststroke in the money we were making playing craps. Murls taught me how to play craps that night, and we couldn't lose. A great night at the SLS.
And that's the same thing with the Everybody Rides. Like, if there's a guy that comes over that craps table and we're on a heater like that and he starts playing Don't Pass, like, buddy, how much you trying to win? Here's $100. Like, get out of here. Like, you're with us or you're not. Like, get off our table. And I remember
also, Biz, quickly.
I got a craps table after this one. Okay.
That same trip. All me and Murls said for a month up to this trip, it was March Madness opening weekend. All we said is Michigan State wins the first round game every fucking year. I'm going to go put on an entire paycheck from the KHL. So I was just coming back from Russia. He was just coming back from Slovan. I'm going to go put an entire paycheck on the Michigan State
paycheck?
Spartans. I don't know. I made like $600,000. I was there for like 3 months. So whatever. I got paid every month, I think.
Okay.
I was like, Michigan State doesn't lose the first round.
Never.
Let's go. We're going to have a big Vegas trip, and it's all about that getting us off to a good start because they were playing Thursday, not Friday, Sunday, Thursday, Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
So me and Murls hit it hard with Migs the first night. Like, I mean, right, you get into Vegas, everyone knows how that first night goes.
Oh, my goodness.
We wake up. I check my phone. Murls hasn't texted me, so I text him, you awake? The Michigan State game had already started. We didn't get to the start of the game. We didn't get to bet on the team. The only reason I went to Vegas, we missed the whole fucking game.
And obviously they won.
Because it was like a 9 a.m. start in Vegas, right?
Brutal.
They had the noon game. We didn't check it. We figured we'd get up.
Messed us up.
And, of course, they won and covered.
Yeah, and the story gets worse.
And then it was all downhill from there. What'd that weekend cost you?
No, story gets worse because they won. So now we get another chance at them Saturday. Like, okay, we missed them Thursday. We'll get them Saturday. They're going to win. They always go to the Final Four with this coach. Same act. We overslept and missed it again. Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing.
I thought you were going to say they lost.
No, just bet it the night before.
We just overslept again.
Just bet it the night before.
You're an absolute clown if you think you're getting up at 9 a.m. in Vegas, unless you haven't been to bed yet. Hey, how about this one? So we're at the Bruckheimer hockey tournament. And we come in after the pool party, and Commodore's there that trip. And craps table, all the boys are stopping and playing, and I have another scenario on my hands, which I decide to go the other route, go back to my room, and a little tomfoolery. Later on at dinner that night, that whole table absolute lit the lamp. Commodore went on like an hour roll. He won $20,000. They said it was the fucking most insane thing. A bunch of them had videos. I've never regretted a sexual experience in my life other than that one.
I'll tell you,
he won. I think he won just under $20,000. I think it was like 19 and change.
I mean, the thing is that I experienced that weekend I'm talking about is it's just everyone's winning, right? So everyone, it's just the table is having so much fun, like the whole vibe, right? And the one guy's rolling, you're all backing them. It's just, everybody ride Cruz. Then the loser comes in, you got to get him out. Take a hike, bud.
I would say I would imagine a type of experience like that at the craps table would be similar to when you initially win the Stanley Cup and you're all standing around, everybody gets to pass it around. I would say that's a very similar experience, correct?
Oh, you're hitting points and you're all getting together and hugging and jumping up and down. It's unbelievable.
It gets okay. So we talked about the KHL, which do you assume is the easiest league in Europe to bet on? If you can
especially during the regular season. This finals, we're having a little tougher time. It's down to the two best teams.
What happened today? Did Avangard win?
Yeah, they won again on us.
Wow.
Yeah,
so that series is tied?
Surprising. No, now they're down. CSK's down 3-2 now, going on the road.
I call CSK in 7.
They're what, the Chelsea, and they're the Manchester City. Yeah,
they're Manchester City, the Yankees. Yep. They're
the Yankees. If George Steinbrenner was a mob boss.
So everybody in Russia, like you get bonuses for a regular season win. You get bonuses for each round, and then if you win it all, you get a big bonus. CSKA, they don't do any in-season bonuses or any playoff round bonuses. They give a big dog cash if you win it all. That's the only bonus structure they have. So CSKA is playing for their livelihoods and their bank accounts. So I think they still get it done in 7.
You think like $100K cash? Or
I'm not even going to go into it. I know it, but I'm not going to say it. Keep going.
You know the exact number?
Keep going.
Keep going.
$1 million?
But just imagine. So this same team, that's where Kaprizov from Minnesota came from and Sorokin from the Islanders. So they've had them two on that same team the last 2 years. So that's how they swept the series, the finals 2 years ago. Last year, they would have won it if it wasn't for the COVID. And then they're back this year in the finals again without those two guys. So you can imagine the wagon they used to be.
That Kaprizov, oh my God. He is fucking...
Well, we've been doing good on the Wild Wits.
The Wild's another team that I've been riding for, I think what have they won 7 in a row?
Yeah,
or they're on some, but they've just been such a good team overall the last 2 months. That guy's changed the whole organization. We've said it on other podcasts. It's like a different vibe around that entire team. Now they need new uniforms. Bill Guerin probably did the opposite of the Dry Island. He's probably like, everyone's boozing. Everyone having beers.
Hey, post game, you got to do a 6-pack in your stall. I actually was.
I'll tell you a great story about that. My brother, I don't know if I told the story. My brother was the trainer in Boston, assistant trainer for Ray Bourque's last season. And he was just a student, like intern, assistant trainer. One of his jobs every day, go get the 6-pack of Coors Light, put in Ray Bourque's stall for after the games. So,
what a job.
That's old school.
What a job.
Imagine putting that on a resume.
That's the pro hockey I thought I was going to play.
Fired.
Oh, boy, believe me, Murls, you did.
Hey, actually, speaking of legends, I was talking to Malone before this one, and he said the one day after, I think it was training camp, after practice, Mario just came up to you and was like, hey, you want to go upstairs and eat? And Malone said that you were so nervous that it was laughable.
Yeah, I mean, I was so nervous. That was like the legend growing up. And then that's what those old guys did, though. Like, remember in training camp, you'd see them all up there in that old rank that we had, and they would all be bellied up, eating lunch, crushing beers every day. And then, like, I think the one day I finally was making the team. I got the invite, and then I was like, is this a test? Like, is he seeing if I'm gonna like go drink, or if I don't drink, then I'm a nerd and he's gonna send me down? These are the thoughts you go through.
Send me down.
You're a pigeon.
Oh, just sweating at the table. Did you say a word? Were you stuttering and shit?
I probably sound like I do on here, just stuttering and nervous.
Hey, Bugsy's ordering Jagr bombs.
Oh, Bugsy's like shoe checking Mario. My first meeting of Mario, I'll never forget that one too. I was so buckled. Bugsy brought us to, remember that bar we went to like 2 nights before camp on the water?
Yeah, something like Wet Willie's or something.
Yeah, something crazy. I don't remember in Pittsburgh. It was an absolute gong show. I was like, I didn't even know. I was like, doing this tonight. Like I thought camp's in a couple of days. Well, sure enough, I get bugsy and I throw up. I pop the blood vessel in my eye. Same way I did after I signed the contract in New York City. And I meet Mario the next day walking into the rink. First round pick 2 or 3 years prior. I got a pop blood vessel in my eye because I got bugsied.
He's like, are you Yandles, buddy?
No wonder I didn't make the team.
Hey, Murls.
Bugsy's doing his 3 drinks. Like he'd line up the 3 like whiskeys and 1, 2, 3 or something. He'd say, "Let's go."
Hey, Murls, this is the first Saturday of May. Making bets on Kentucky Derby Day. Are you a ponies guy? I don't think we discussed the horses.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 20 minutes from Saratoga, where I grew up here, so I've
never won a race.
I used to have a huge Kentucky Derby party when I lived here in the States. Like last spring, I was in. Well, it got canceled last spring, but when we're in Europe. But this year, yeah, I actually got a good tip for everybody here.
Ooh. Last year, Edzo gave us the winner.
If you've ever been to Troy, New York, or like Albany, New York, we're famous for these like mini hot dogs. All right, mini hot dogs. You put mustard, sauce, some chopped onions on them, and the best place for them is Hot Dog Charlie's. And this year, the one of the horses, and it was actually a Barstool guy that wrote a blog about it too. And it's called Hot Rod Charlie. And that's getting a lot of talk, and that's going to be my pick for us.
I think Edzo had a better breakdown of why he was picking his horse, but yours is the connection between these little mini hot
Rod
dogs.
And Dog both have 3 letters.
Yeah,
and we love them.
Hey,
and he's getting needles in the ass every night.
Hey, all right, yeah. So a couple years ago, I won big on it because Nyquist won, and
that's right too.
Named for a hockey player, named for a Swedish hockey player. My wife, Johanna's Swedish. And we all were figuring it out. And we're like, hey, this is it. Let's go for it. It was, I think, 4-1 it went off at. We all made a bundle. So sometimes you got to use that kind of thinking to get a winner in the horses.
For people who don't know, and I've mentioned this quite often, but when life gets back to normal, or hopefully it's this summer, if you want a good spot for a bachelor party and you don't go to Saratoga Springs in New York, you have no idea. And like I said a million times, you tell your wives and your girlfriends, yeah, I'm going to a horse track. They're like, all right, loser. See you later. They have no idea what that place is really like. So go to Saratoga Springs when the track opens up and enjoy it yourself. That's me and Merle's favorite place.
Keith Yandel, when I was playing with him, he went there one time, and I was like, "Why? Like, why would you go there? Like, is that even any good?" His fucking jaw dropped. He goes, "Buddy," he goes, "you have to experience that place one time in your life." He said it's one of the best places he's ever been. I think he tries to get there at least once a summer, or used to.
Just betting the ponies all day, and there's like 10, 11 races. You're going back up. In between, you got about 40 minutes. You bring your own beers, and that's one of the coolest things is that you're allowed to bring your own coolers in. And RA, I've seen him up there a bunch. That's one of your spots, but unfortunately, we just don't win money. The one year we did, I think, blew it all that night.
Well, we went to the Racino afterwards playing video craps with.
Yeah, that's a loser move.
Yeah. You go home Sunday with no money either way.
I told Murley, I said, listen, I go, next year when I was leaving, that next morning you're leaving, you're hungover, like, see you, buddy. Next year, if you go to that Racino after the track and you go and play video craps and poker, I'm going to walk right in there. I'm going to sucker you right in the face. It's a known fact. And then last year it got canceled. So the next time we go, if he's there, I'm allowed to just straight up sucker him. I'll probably break my hand. He won't even feel it.
Last call is like 4:00 in the morning up there too, right, Murls?
Yeah, I mean that's all around here. It's like it's not needed at all. 4 a.m. we don't need that. But one of the best things, the track. So you're there all day. You're buckled all day, and then right across the street, there's 3 or 4 different spots with like the outdoors venue. They got the bands rocking, and it's all the sing along songs. You're just there going nuts. It is so much fun.
Plus, I think every female within like 100-mile radius of Saratoga, like travels there Friday, Saturday night to get some men because there's certainly plenty of them up there.
And it's mandatory you wear a sundress when you get within the hour radius of the track. So, it's a good location for you single listeners out there.
I got a question for you. Do you still have a lot of buddies in Albany?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you got the Albany River Rats poster behind you. How many of them were going to watch when McGillney got sent down? The AHL.
Yeah, my friends are not really hockey people that are from here. Most of my friends were like basketball guys growing up, but I remember hearing some stories about him from when he played here. He was commuting from New Jersey still. And when he got sent down, he walked into the room. I think he handed who's in charge of the fine fund, handed the guy like 20 grand. He goes, I'll probably be late a few practices because I'm commuting from Jersey.
No, what he did was he walked into the coach's office and he told the coach, he said, what's the fine for missing practice? And I think the coach said $250. So he wrote out a check for the rest of the remaining practices in the year and he handed it to him.
Oh, that's even better.
Hey, yours is probably the true one. Mine's the bigger fish.
I actually ran into him my first year when I went over to play in the KHL. I went over to that crazy team of Moore. And he was like the president of the team. So I got to hang out with him a little bit over there, and he was a beauty. Wow.
Murls, you got any cup futures? Any teams you're going to be pulling for come playoff time? You like me? You bet like half the field just so you can say you won.
I haven't really done any yet, but one I've been really eyeing is the Winnipeg Jets. I really like that team. We all know the story of how Toronto can never get past the big bad Bruins, right?
Uh-huh.
And that Winnipeg reminds me a little bit of the Bruins. Some big bodies, not easy to play against, a real good goalie. And
the Ehlers.
I know you guys are big Leafs podcast this year, but
they're going to win the cup. Joe Thornton will fucking fist fight you in a back alley right now for a Stanley Cup. He'll do whatever
I would love to see Joe win it.
You know who I'm going to throw a futures on is the goddamn Carolina Hurricanes.
Oof.
They're nasty. And I bet you their odds are pretty decent right now. That's a decent little wager for you. At least you'll get some odds back. Like Tampa Bay, even though they're not even playing great, that's my pick. I want the Leafs, but I'm picking Tampa Bay just because they're that good. But they've struggled, and I bet you their odds are what are they? A 6-1 RA? It's not even worth it.
Tampa's like the chalk. Tampa and Colorado are basically the chalk right now. Yeah. Even at the beginning of the year, you weren't getting great prices on those teams.
Yeah.
But the Bruins though, like when we recorded last week, they were 16-1 in some places, and they actually went down to 11-1 over the next couple of days, just over the victory over Washington and then Buffalo. So you got to jump on those numbers quick because they get one huge bet, then they're going to drop pretty big.
And also, everyone should know, Murls, our next trip or one of our next few trips, Murls is going to be joining us because this man was born for a live stream. All he does is talk about every play, how he got screwed, and he had that guy to score the first goal. Then he got benched by the coach, and then he's talking about an icing call that fucked him over in the second period of a game 3 weeks ago. So Murls is built for the live stream. Should be seeing a lot more of him, but we appreciate you hopping on, buddy.
Yeah, I was hoping to get down to Florida, but I was busy. I was coaching a high-end Bantam team out in Rochester, and it was our last weekend, so we had it was basically like a national tournament because of COVID and everything. They got all the teams put together and we had a big tournament. And so I couldn't make it down there, but I'm definitely in for the next one.
Are they 15?
They were 07 birthdays. So 13, 14-year-olds.
So, and some of these kids, huh? Just ridiculous.
Just complete studs. They went up to Quebec last year, your Quebec Pee Wee tournament. But
I've heard of it.
Finals.
Oh, yeah, I won it.
I know you were a champion. I lost in the finals too.
Did you?
Not like the grand final. I was in the double. You know how there's double
you were in the
international
pigeon conference.
In the two NHL. So there was 4 divisions. We lost in the final of our division. And then Syracuse won it a couple years after me. Our team went back up with Tim Conley. They were the first. They were the first American team to win it.
That's when it was on ESPN too.
Yeah, they were trading our hockey cards in the bowels of the rink and selling them at McDonald's.
You think Conley? You think we can get Conley for a sandbagger? He loves golf.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's playing out at Oak Hill every day. So, I mean, I don't know if he'll travel. You guys might have to travel to him to get him. But
he's not allowed to travel. Well, Murls, we love you, and we appreciate you hopping on. And everybody, check out the Everybody Rides crew. It's Matt Murley 19 on Twitter.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't even know.
I'm still a rookie in the game. I know I'm trying to learn from you still, Whit, on it.
Yeah, we're gonna need some videos. You're gonna need to send out some videos with your picks once in a while. But
yeah, we're having a blast doing it. I got the consigliere out in Vegas helping me, and it's just so much fun. Like every morning, people. I know what it's like. The people are at work, like they just want something to check their phone on all day, and if it breaks up the time and gets you to dinner. But the problem was I got so hot. I mean, I was going on some of those 11-0, 13-2 streaks. Wow. Now, if I lose a game, it's like a big deal. Everybody's like, what's going on? You lost.
Hey, dude, I've been losing for 20 years.
Yeah. I go 7-0. Everyone's like, they're texting you at 4 a.m. Where's your picture tonight? It's like, buddy, I don't even know who's playing. Like, give me a fucking second here.
Yeah. But I'll give one. This is going to go Tuesday morning. This will go up, Mikey. Tuesday afternoon, we'll go to the Swiss League, and we're going to take Zug 3-way. I think it's like minus 130 or something. And for all these, and you see how many questions I get about this 3-way and regulation, and because 3-way regulation, it's all the same.
That's what I missed the crap tables for.
Yeah.
Wait, so isn't it?
Keep going.
Isn't it
keep explaining.
Three-way you have to win in regulation?
It's the same thing. Yeah, it's just the same thing. Sometimes it's minus a half. Let's say in regulation minus a half, which is the same thing. And then so that's why you do the draw, aka the Murley special. So you get just better odds on everything. And if it goes to OT, you can always jump on and live bet your original team. I don't know. I'll be on here. Maybe I'll have to do a little tutorial on sports gambling, and then I'd really like to do one on the craps table. Teach everybody how to play that and play it the right way.
All right, we're in. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Murls, can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
Scuds told me about the time Orpik drilled you in the nuts with a shot out of frustration.
Yeah, Scuds texted me about that. I thought it was Vandenbush or something. Then I was out. I used to play with two, Vandenbush and Andre Waugh would be out there, and we'd just be mucking around, and we couldn't get out of our zone. And I think Orpik was just so mad. He took a slap shot after the whistle and hits me right in the nuts.
In a game.
Yeah, in a game. Yeah, after the whistle, it was just we were that's who was on Sabres on that losing streak. That's the kind of team we were. We couldn't win.
Hey, do you know what's funny? I just saw that Vancouver, when they came back from the COVID break, they were the second biggest underdog in the last 20 years. The first was our team in Pittsburgh. and we went up against we were plus 400 that night against Ottawa. That year they went to the Cup final. We went up 1-0 and then lost 7-1.
Live bet. Let's hope somebody live bet it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Good seeing you guys.
Everybody
seeing your Murls.
Take care, Murls.
Everybody rides.
Huge thanks to our handsome buddy Murls for coming on and talking gamble with him. Such an absolute beauty. I was so happy he joined us in Dallas at the Winter Classic last year.
Whit called him handsome on the way in. You just called him handsome. Is Murls known as this handsome guy?
I didn't call him handsome, but he is a good-looking cat. And he's Peter Pan. He doesn't age.
Yeah,
it's fucking nuts, dude. He looks the exact same as he did when he was 20. It's a nice skill to have.
Murls.
Yeah,
Man Rocket Murls.
Well,
wears the same T-shirt the whole weekend in Vegas, but he is a man rocket.
Yeah, it's not something I'm going to pick on a man for. Hey, most guys have tried different ways to last longer, but thinking about Oscar winners and playoff seedings do not always work. Well, the folks at Roman, an online men's health company, are changing the game with Roman Swipes, the secret to longer-lasting sex. It's not a secret anymore. Roman Swipes are a clinically proven way to last longer in bed. They're effective, easy to use, and fast-acting. And the best part, you don't need a prescription, so you don't have to have any embarrassing call-outs at CVS. I'm going to go for boner pills or whatever like that. No dice. You just get it, swipe it on. You're good to go. It's super easy, Biz. You know that. Go to getroman.com/chicklets. You get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's it. Go to getroman.com/chicklets. Check these things out. They work. Look at how thin they are. They fit right in your wallet.
I picture the pharmacist just yelling, all right, dick pills. Rear Admiral. Who's got the dick pills?
Who jizzes too early? Where are you? Here we go. We got a swip.
Hey, Murls would wear the same T-shirt in Vegas for 4 days straight.
No, but he came to Boston for a weekend one time and stayed for 4 weeks because he said he was too hungover to drive home to Albany. It's like 2.5 hours. Stayed for 26 days, I think it was, after coming for a weekend. And 23 of the days he wore this yellow T-shirt that had one of the things from Where the Wild Things Are.
So it's like noticeable, not like a black one, you know?
No, it's just like, Murls, that T-shirt's been on you dead straight 3 weeks. He chucked a couple washes in there, but he's like, things are working well. I'm doing well here. I'm not going to change my shirt.
Absolute hot streak with the same shirt. Oh, my goodness.
I forget how much of a fucking Capital District accent he has until he comes on, too. He's got that Albany, Schenectady, Troy accent.
Yep. Guys, I also need to talk to you about a podcast in Saskatchewan. So since I talked about Saskatchewan and the people who make up that province and how solid to the core these people are, a lot of people reached out, almost saying, thank you, I appreciate it. And, I said, of course, you deserve it. You guys are wonderful people out there. It reminded me a couple months back, a podcast from Saskatchewan. It's called the Monday Nooner podcast.
Yeah, they reached out to me too.
Well, Colby Armstrong reached out and said, hey, I'm going to give him your number. I said, are you fucking kidding me, Army? I hate doing stuff like that. But no. They wrote an email and they're real nice guys. And I said, listen, guys, I'll come on the show if Army comes on our show again. So it's pretty simple. Yep. Army set it up so you can get on him. Colby Armstrong was one of our first guests before Biz was on the show. One of the funniest, greatest guys I ever met playing pro hockey. So I'd love to have him come on again. And he just keeps dodging me. So Army's buddies, he connected us. You come on, Army. I'm on Monday Nooner. They've had a bunch of good guys. Brian Burke, Theo Fleury, Scotty Hartnell's been on there. Kelly Chase. So they're crushing it. So good looking out for the Saskatchewan pods. But I'm not going on until Army comes back on with us. You heard it there.
Same here.
And we got to also talk quickly about G4. I don't think people understand how comfortable these shoes are. G4, there's some golf shoes out there, and they have all the fancy bells and whistles, but they look like a grandpa's shoe. And then there are other shoes that look sweet, but they do nothing for your game. And then there's G4. It's got this huge technology with sleek, modern design to make some incredible golf shoes. You got to check out their site, g4.com/chiclets. Biz, you were rocking these in the Sandbaggers. You love them. They'll give you 10%. Today. Yeah, you're rocking them today. They'll give you 10% off of your first order, and I'm telling you, you're going to love them. You can get the classic look. Check out the Gallivanters. I love that word. Murls used to say that word. We're gallivanting around Vegas. Or if you're digging shoes that look more athletic, like maybe you could go, you go out to a bar after in them. Not that you should necessarily do that in golf shoes, but you could. The MG4s, that's what you want. So there's a bunch of there's an MG4 Plus that's super sleek. It's athletic looking. There's 3D molded external heel cap for lateral support. That's very important in the game of golf. You need to be using the ground. That's how you get the swing speed. Use the ground with the lateral force of the G4 shoe. So no matter what kind of statement you're looking or trying to make with your look, they will hook you up. Check out g4.com/chiclets for 10% off your first order. And also while you're doing that, Thursday, I believe, Spittin Chiclets, we're dropping a new line of Peter Millar golf gear, some spring colors to kind of hop into your rotation, some, do I dare say pink, some light purple, some blue, some nice looking gear from Peter Millar, who I believe owns G4. It's all big one happy family with the great Chiclets logo on the breast and the Barstool Sports logo on the sleeve. So you can't miss. Check that out Thursday, please. RA, do we have anything else?
A couple other things. Honestly, I forgot to pimp my Vegas shirt, the one I created, the Sin City Bonnie.
Oh, I like that one.
It's got a little metallic gold to match the helmets. And if you notice, instead of the joust, the top of that's a hockey stick. Shout out to Mrs. RA for coming up with that concept.
Come on, really? Yeah, Mrs. RA. Way to go. That's gorgeous.
The hashtag is Vegas born. Well, I didn't want to copy them. I respect what they do. So I use Sin City born. You can make it out there.
Well, they stole your mascot. They stole Chance.
True that. But either way, check that out. And Biz, the Mountie sweatshirt sold out. And basically, the Mountie thing, that sale could have used a Roman swipe to last a little longer.
Yeah, we made 100. It was a very small drop. The quality of these sweaters are amazing. Yeah, they sold out very quick. Thank you to Grinelli, Liam from Noble Gentlemen, and a few of the girls. Can you say their names, Grinelli, from The Office?
Alex and Allison, they're the best.
Thank you very much.
Pilar as well.
And I think we sold out in 2 hours, 3 hours?
2 hours, real quick.
And then, and Whit, you have a story about somebody who did write you an essay.
I wasn't an essay. I asked for a book report on the Octopus Professor, and I received a lot. Needless to say, there was, I'm going to say 35 to 40 book reports came in. I'm going to go out. Actually, I got to find his name again. I lost it.
Well, here's the problem. So Witt's lost the name. So the guy who actually won the book report was a Mountie himself.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Oh, here he is. Jay Spen. I've been a Mountie 13 years. The boys would love it at our next Mountie hockey tournament. Imagine how much these fucking guys drink at the Mountie hockey tournament. Like, It's basically Vikings. It's modern day Vikings at their hockey tournament, just getting waffled in a what does the shirt say again?
Unapologetically Canadian.
Unapologetically Canadian. Something I could never wear. So congrats to Jay Spen. I'll be sending that out to you.
And we'll send a few bottles of Pink Whitney as well. And you guys can enjoy your hockey tournament. And we hope you like the sweater.
And actually, we'll get back to the Oscars in a sec, Biz. There were a couple of the hockey notes we did want to get out there first. We just talked about Matt Murley not aging at all. How about Freddie Brathwaite? He's the goaltending coach for the Henderson Silver Knights, Vegas' farm team. Well, he was forced into a backup role, the same situation, sort of what was going on in Ottawa. The goaltender was sick. They had to bring him in. He's 48 years old, I believe. Hasn't played in years. He suits up for Henderson Silver Knights. He still has his original Atlanta Thrashers helmet. Doesn't have a mark on it. Thing is still gorgeous. But, man, that guy looks fantastic. When I seen the picture, I was like, which one was from 20 years ago when he played and which one was from recently? He still looks great for his age.
I'm trying to think of athletes that have aged tremendously. And when that picture popped up, I'm like, damn, this guy still looks like he's fucking 25 years old.
Absolutely. And one other big story we want to get to, unfortunately for the women, their world championship in Nova Scotia, it was supposed to start May 6th. It was canceled yet again. They didn't play it last year. And I'm using the word canceled because it hasn't been postponed because there's no makeup date yet. The players were only given 1 day notice before teams were set to arrive for their quarantine. Some reportedly the Russian and Japanese teams are already en route. So these women are obviously understandably pissed. The IIHF and Hockey Canada, who is running this year's tournament, pledged to try to find new dates later this summer, which really doesn't mean a hell of a lot. Basically, the players are pissed because there was no contingency plan. Like, okay, if this gets canceled, what do we do next? And they had absolutely fucking nothing lined up. So these ladies, man, they bust their asses. They don't make pro salaries. Some of them have to rely on generosity of friends and family. And for them to get treated like this, man, it sucks. They get treated like a second-class citizen, and they frankly deserve a lot more than this and a lot better than this.
You couldn't have said it any better. It's ridiculous that's like, you can't tell me if that was the men's world championship, that's how it would have gone down.
Yeah,
and you can argue about pay and how it's not fair. Well, there's different arguments in terms of that, but treatment of people and their time and what they're looking forward to, that's non-negotiable, right? So that was a joke to see that.
It's just disrespectful to treat people like that. And I know people said Texas, I know they were holding an under 18 tournament that they weren't originally supposed to. But again, this is a Hockey Canada gig. They want to still try to have it in Canada. So that's why it's not going anywhere else. So hopefully the women can get their world championship because it's great hockey. And
as far as sports is concerned, the ladies have absolutely taken it out of the chin during this COVID situation. So let's hope that when everything's back and running, we show them the support they deserve. This is brutal.
One last hockey note. I'm not sure there was a clip from the Federal League. A lot of fights. Yeah. They let guys wear baseball hats during the warm-ups. Like, did you see the clip? I don't know if you guys got tagged or not. Guys just skating warm-ups with like baseball hats on backwards, like they're basically going to play roller hockey. I don't know. I know it's the Federal League. They got some fucking wild animals playing that league, but thought it was a pretty funny clip. We got to go back to the golf for a second. This past weekend was the PGA Zurich Classic down in New Orleans or Louisiana, and it was a what? How do you call that when two guys are playing? I know team play is it as simple as that?
Yeah, it's a 2-man tournament. It's the only time they do it on the PGA Tour season. Thursday, Saturday is best ball, and Friday, Sunday is alternate shot. And for anyone who's ever played golf, alternate shot is hard. So guys, teams are going out and shooting 8 to 10 under best ball when you're both just counting the best score both of you make. But then when the guy hits the drive and you hit the iron and the guy hits the putt and you have to putt the next one, it's just taxing on like your game, and you feel bad for somebody that you usually don't feel when you're playing alone. So it's hard. So leading into that, I had no idea Rear Admiral had big action on a South African squad that was right in the hunt come Sunday.
Brutal. Yeah, was it Oosthuizen? How do you say
Louis Oosthuizen, one of the most beautiful swings in golf.
And Charles Schwartzel, I didn't bet him because they're South Africa. He's one of those names I just kind of chase. And yeah, they were up 1 going into Sunday. You're not guaranteed nothing. They had been flip-flopping like guys each hole, but he choked on those last few holes, man. Oosthuizen, what the fuck you say his name. He gagged a couple shots, and then that last one in the playoff, he put right in the drink.
Couldn't believe that.
I was more stressed through that, and I mean, it was only a couple $100 bet. Obviously, I stood to make a nice chunk of change, but I was a stress factory watching that for fucking 3 hours Sunday.
going back to the days. So on the Sunday coming home, it would be the alternate shot.
Yes, dude. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So meltdowns are way more likely.
Yeah, Fino and Cameron Champ were right near the top of the lead. I think they shot like 77 or something. Alternate shot is just, it's something, it's really hard to describe, but you're so used to hitting the drive and getting ready and hitting your shot into the green, whereas you're hitting your drive and you're not even thinking about anything until you're either putting or chipping. If your partner misses the green, it's a stress factory, that's for sure. And I think that when they got into the playoff, Ustays and Swing, he's won the British Open like 10 years ago, like ran away with it at St. Andrews. I had no idea who he was then. He's never won in America though. So it's like, this guy's made a fortune playing golf, but he doesn't have that killer instinct, I don't think. And that's having said, he's got an Open championship, so fuck that. But lately, and then Biz on this playoff, it's a par 5, gettable par 5. You can miss a mile left. He just blocks one way into the water where he didn't even get it up the fairway and have it like fade into the water. It was just dead right. So you had to re-tee. You couldn't even go up and drop and hit your third. So just a choke.
He had to re-tee himself.
No, because then it's alternate shots, and then your buddy's going to tee up. So Schwartzel actually striped one, and they had a chance still. RA got to the green, and they
did. Yeah, it was. I mean, I think that's my second place in this last 5 or 6 months in golf futures. So
I don't know names in golf, like only the top end ones, and I'm sure this guy you probably know who it is. But the one meltdown that I can think of happened at the British Open, and it was on the 18th.
Jean Van de Velde.
And it was he hit it in like the little river thing where
they call it the burn. He hit it in the fucking burn, dude.
And he put up the last hole, like an 8 or a 9?
He made a triple to force a playoff. He made like a 5-foot putt for triple to still get into the playoff. All he needed to do was double bogey the hole. It was at Carnoustie, one of the hardest courses in the world. And go back, and I'm telling you, if you are a hockey fan or a baseball fan and you've never watched or played golf, go to YouTube right now and watch Jean Van de Velde on the 18th hole of the British Open, because it is one of the most incredible collapses. I didn't play or like golf, and my father didn't play golf either, but he always watched the majors. And I remember 78 Vernon Road, Situate, Mass, the room I was in. I have the worst memory. I remember watching that and my dad going, "This is insane. What is this guy doing, dude?" He gets in the water like he's going to hit it out of the burn with his shoes off. I remember my dad going, "Look at this idiot Frenchman. What is this guy doing?" Because he looked like Mr. Bean. He was so lost. It was like, it's the funniest. Go watch it on YouTube. And the guy lost. And I ended up watching something on it years later. Like it was difficult for him, right? I mean, this guy's life was.
The reason I can laugh about it now, and I didn't even watch it in real time. The only reason I knew about it was because I think that they got him back years later, and he actually shot a better score on the hole with
one club,
playing with a putter.
Yes, I think you're right.
And he was willing to do the video, and he did it, and he actually doubled it, and he would have, So it was just funny.
He seemed like a great guy. You're right.
Yeah, so I think years later, as much as it might have affected him at the time, at least he could laugh at himself. Yeah. And he did a little content piece where he played the 18th with a putter the whole hole and beat his score, the meltdown.
So the out of bounds is left. The whole hole's out of bounds left, like up near the green too. And right is like a burn that like slithers along the hole, and the guy takes out driver, and the announcer for like BBC, which is even better, I think he's like, what the fuck's he doing with driver? Like, and then he hits it dead right, and they're like, that's dead in the water. Well, dude, he landed on like a little patch of grass and still ended up making triple. Like he got the break he needed after picking the wrong club off the tee and still made the triple. But yeah, go check that out. This has been a long episode, no?
Yeah, we're deep.
We're almost done. Speaking of futures, a lot of people thought, going back to the Oscars biz, a lot of people thought I bet that my octopus teacher was going to win Best Documentary,
Professor.
and it did Sunday night. But first off, I didn't have the option. I guess where I put my wages in, I didn't have the option to put any documentary plays in. But I guess it was a pretty good favorite. It was like minus 500. That's not odds I would have played anyways. But I was surprised at one. I didn't know those were the odds. I just thought the Academy would have went with like one of the more socially conscious leaning documentaries. That was the competition. But I also think people just like the kind of the feel good nature of the story, where it was sort of an escape from real world problems and real world issues. And I think that had a lot of appeal for people last year. So I think that's why it won.
I think considering Whit was so negative, we need to get him on and we need to talk to him and have an open conversation so Whit can really open up to this movie. Because I agree 100% with you, RA. This changed my life.
I saw a movie. I tried to watch a couple of nominees. The Sound of Metal, this movie was crazy. Like watching it is... It pulled on all the feelings you could have. This guy was so amazing acting in this movie. I don't know his name. All right, holy shit, Biz. Watch this movie. I swear to God, I was like, I cried a little bit. I was like thinking about it's just a weird. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? All right,
yeah.
It was such an. It's a story I've never seen or dealt with. And somebody, should I give it away?
The acting captivated you into the whole story of it, where you felt like you'd watched this guy.
Yeah, and
I don't even know what it's about.
No, so I won't ruin it. But the premise is, it's a drummer and he's in a band, and this band isn't exactly killing it. But he loses his hearing, and that's all you need to say.
Yep. And I'm sorry, what I don't know if
no. I'm really looking for your opinion on it. Did you agree with that?
No, I thought it was excellent. I thought it had a shot at Best Picture. Yeah, it's about a rock drummer who's slowly losing his hearing. But what the way the filmmakers did it was they kind of put you in his shoes, like how he was losing his hearing. You were kind of going through the same sensory and
how you were almost annoyed by it, just even being through the experience. It's like, imagine this guy.
Annoying isn't even the word. I was legit so heartbroken for this guy, and it was a movie, and to feel so upset for a person that it's not a real true story. It was that's what the noises that he was hearing and what he was going through. And there's just one quick thing I have to say. When he realizes that his hearing's gone, it's the panic, and you see somebody panicking, and you think of imagine losing your hearing. It's just gone. For some reason, it just really struck a chord with me. And he's trying to pop it. Yeah, I won't even give it away, but check it out. Amazing acting by this guy.
And just to go back, when I said annoying, it's just you're kind of experiencing.
I know what you meant.
Okay, thank you. What else?
It's on Amazon Prime, and he lost Riz Ahmed. He lost the Best Actor to Anthony Hopkins, who won for The Father, and that was a huge upset. I know Anthony Hopkins is a legend. Nobody really thought that was going to happen. They thought maybe 2 or 3 other guys were going to win. I don't know if you saw The Father, Whit. But
I didn't see it because honestly, I read about what it was about.
Yeah,
and it was so sad that I couldn't watch it.
It's very heavy.
And I saw quickly. He woke up. He didn't even know he won the Oscar. I read.
No, he didn't. It was 4 o'clock in the morning in Wales. He didn't care. That's Employee of the Month for Tony Hopkins. He's
what a baller.
Whatever. Yeah, he woke up and found that he won the Oscar.
That's Employee of the Month.
Hey, what do you want for breakfast? He's and you won the Oscar. Eggs over medium.
He reads it in the paper.
Doesn't even respond to the Oscar.
Cup of tea. But his cup of tea.
It was a similar thing on that. Obviously, it's about Alzheimer's. It's not a spoiled thing or a dementia, whatever you want to call it, a guy getting old. But they do similar movie making tricks. But what they do for a guy losing his hearing and The Sound of Metal, they do the same thing with memory with The Father. So if you see that, they kind of put you through it. It's like losing your memory, and it's very well done. That's why it won best. Well, I think it was best original screenplay, but. Yeah, as far as the Oscars in general, I wasn't too enamored with it. I thought it was kind of dry, not a lot of laughs. And Nomadland, man, I thought it was boring. I didn't think it was that great of a movie. It's not. I don't think it's one of these movies people are going to look back at in 10 years and be like, oh, yeah, that was a classic. It should have won Best Director, Best Picture. I mean, spoiler alert. It's about a woman who decides to just live out of her fucking van down by the river. I wasn't all that enamored with it.
I haven't heard one good word about this movie. I'm not kidding. I've listened to a couple podcasts. I've been on listening. Not one person has said they like this movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I didn't dislike it. I just was like, "That's it."
It
That's
sounded like, dude. Your description was of disliking a movie.
Okay.
In fairness,
you're right. I didn't praise it for sure. I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. I just don't think it was anywhere near Best Picture worthy, I guess is what I'd say. So,
I was going to say the only other movie that I saw about losing of hearing was It's All Gone Pete Tong. And it's about a DJ, same thing. He lost his hearing. And I think that this one might have a bit more of a humorous approach to it. And I would assume that this one that you just described is
There's
not.
zero humor in this.
Yeah.
movie.
So it's called All Gone Pete Tong. I think it's like kind of like a cult movie.
That's not true. There's actually a couple moments that I laughed pretty hard.
All right.
We
got to talk about the bench simp. That's the last thing.
Oh my God, guys. If you haven't seen it, this kid, I don't know how the hell this picture was made public, but he's in his gear. He's got his fucking fishbowl on his face on the bench, and he's got his cell phone down at the bottom, taking a selfie up at his chin with his mask on. And then he writes, "Babe, I snuck my phone on the bench to keep talking to you." I mean, dude, maybe the toughest look that I've seen for a kid ever.
Grinnell, this is more like, what did you
mean?
think of this? Grinnell needs to hop in on this. I need to hear his
Imagine the feeling when it went into his group chat with all of his boys. With the second he saw that, like with the second the girl sent it out,
How viral has this gotten?
Oh, I mean, it's our most viral post on our Instagram in the past month.
Let's have him on.
We got to
reach out to him, Mikey.
Yeah, we got to get Ben Ship on,
and we're going to talk to him, and we're just going to get his side of the story, and we're going to probably realize that he's a great guy and knew he made a mistake. But wow.
Let me say this. It's very easy for his buddies to create, to forge that. That's easily forgeable. So there's a chance that this kid could have just got sandbagged by his buddies.
So this could be bench simp.
Well, no, not in a sense. Yes, but also he took that picture.
He still brought the phone on the bench and took a selfie on the bench. But there's a
but he could have been like,
he
could have been like, having a few beers tonight, going to get my pee-pee wet.
Actually, you're right. Maybe he's sending that selfie out to a bunch of babes. Hey, I'm at Men's League. I just got another goal. And then they put on the tag to make him look like a simp.
This is why we got to get his story.
All right. We're going to have him on. But what a funny image to see a kid on the bench. I can imagine if I was a freshman at Thayer and the seniors saw me with my, there was no phones then. Jesus Christ.
All right. What was that song?
No, I said The Simpsons.
Yeah, I think it's time to wrap this up, guys.
Actually, G just texted me one last note. Super League song.
Oh, yeah, guys. I don't know if you saw. Big Cat had the funniest couple memes today about how he got the Super League canceled, but we talked about it as well. It's canceled. And not only is the Super League canceled, like some of these fans, they want these owners gone. This Kroenke guy owns Arsenal. He says, I think he owned the Rams and he moved him out of St. Louis. Not a well-liked guy, it sounds like. Arsenal fans, there was, I think, thousands of them up the stadium before they played last week. Like, Kroenke out. So Chelsea was the first team to hop out, just all class by my boys. And tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern, or today, as you guys are listening, you want to watch a world-class team play soccer? Check out Chelsea playing Real Madrid in the first leg of the semifinals of the Champions League. This is the best soccer you'll see in the world besides the World Cup. Maybe the Euro is better. But talk to me after Chelsea goes up on the first round of this. I think it's a 2-leg semifinal. I love Chelsea. Go Blues.
Subscribe to our YouTube. Episodes can be found there. Check out our merch and our swag. Anything else, boys?
If I was the owner of that Arsenal team, I would have sent out a tweet saying, if you guys don't shut up, I'll move you too.
I think like someone would have gotten him though. No, there would have been a hit. Oh my God. All right. Love you guys.
That's why I want to own sports teams.
All right, everybody. Have a great week. We love you.
Love you.